Chapter 2797. Moreover, the heavenly elixir sect's trial wasn't something that he could come whenever he wanted. He had to wait for the heavenly elixir sect to hold it, and he wouldn't be able to enter even if he came. Go. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. He knew that there was a tiger on the mountain, but he still went ahead. Since he was already here, how could he leave? Most of the time, Lin Yi sought wealth in danger. Without taking risks, how could he gain any rewards? Thinking of this, Lin Yi made up his mind and walked up the mountain. The mountain path was very steep and rugged. There wasn't a smooth path up the mountain. Obviously, not only was there no one going up the mountain, there shouldn't be any spirit beasts going up either. This showed that there was definitely some kind of hidden danger on the mountain. Otherwise, why wouldn't there be any spirit beasts nearby? Moreover, even if there weren't any land spirit beasts, there should be some flying spirit beasts, right? However, Lin didn't see any. Although the mountain path was difficult to walk, it wasn't a cliff. Even if there was no path, there were still some footholds. With Lin Yi's Qinggong, going up the mountain shouldn't be a problem. Skybolt Pig, which direction is it? Linist. GG. Skybolt Pig stretched out his paw and pointed in a direction not far away. Lin Yi nodded and carried Skybolt Pig forward slowly. After walking for a few hundred meters, Skybolt Pig suddenly squeaked again. GG. Skybolt Pig squeaked and pointed at a stone hill not far away. Oh, the treasure you were talking about is here? Lin Yi asked, slightly taken aback. GG. Skybolt Pig nodded and then shook his head. What does that mean? Lin Yi asked curiously. GG. Skybolt Pig pointed at the stone hill and nodded. Then, he pointed at the mountain not far away and nodded again. Oh, I get it. You're saying that there's treasure here and there's treasure not far from here, right? Lin Yi understood what the pig was getting at. GG. The Skybolt Pig nodded its head in satisfaction. Lin Yi quickly moved towards the stone hill. There was nothing special about the appearance of the hill. Lin Yi stretched out his hand to dig the hill and the jade did not warn him, which meant that there was no danger here. It didn't take long for the mound to be excavated, and what surprised Lin Yi was that underneath the rubble was the skeleton of a spirit beast. From the outside, it was hard to tell what kind of spirit beast it belonged to. There were too many types of spirit beasts. Lin Yi couldn't even recognize the living ones, let alone the dead ones. In this pile of spirit beast bones, Lin Yi didn't need to search much to find the inner core of a spirit beast. It seemed like this was the treasure that Skybolt Pig was talking about. Now, Lin Yi had 6 inner cores of spirit beasts. 1 was given by Go Huli's lion, 2 were obtained from Wulong Haut mountain range, 1 was given by the Qian mountain sect, 1 was given by the ghost, and the last one was exchanged with a Sky Realm cultivator at the cultivator's market. However, the one that the ghost gave him was obviously different from the others, and the ghost didn't let him use it, so he couldn't just use it. The remaining 5 could be used to make a necklace of essence. Lin Yi didn't want to use it, so he didn't want to. However, Lin Yi wasn't a blacksmith, so he couldn't refine it yet. Now that he had obtained an extra essence Niden, it wasn't that he didn't want to waste it. To make an essence necklace, the minimum number of essence Niden was 5. The more the better. Moreover, the higher the level of the beast, the better the effect. So, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't waste this essence Niden. Carefully putting away the inner core, Lin Yi asked Skybolt Pig, "Is the thing in front better than this?" Skybolt Pig nodded. Good, let's continue. Lin Yi picked up Skybolt Pig and strode towards the top of the mountain. What made Lin Yi feel strange was that although the map clearly indicated that this was an extremely dangerous place, Lin Yi hadn't encountered any danger along the way. This made Lin Yi feel strange and suspicious. Did the Heavenly Elixir sect make a mistake? In other words, this place was an extremely dangerous place many hundreds, even thousands of years ago, but perhaps the danger no longer existed. Otherwise, Lin Yi couldn't explain why he was safe and sound all this time, not running into any danger. At the top of the mountain, Lin Yi finally set foot on it. Standing there, Lin Yi wanted to see the whole scene of the trial ground, but he didn't expect that there would be a thick fog in the distance, so he couldn't see far. Maybe this was the natural climate of the trial ground. Lin Yi shook his head and didn't spend too much time on this matter. Instead, he asked Skybolt Pig, "We have reached the top of the mountain, where is the treasure?" GG. Skybolt Pig turned his head and pointed at the cave in the distance. However, before Lin Yi could answer, a huge fluctuation of chi suddenly came. Not only Lin Yi's heart trembled, but even Skybolt Pig's hair stood up. Skybolt Pig rarely stood up since he started following Lin. Whenever he encountered danger, his hair would stand up, carrying poison. Lin Yi had seen it once in the ancient tomb, and this time, Skybolt Pig's hair unconsciously stood up, which was enough to show how terrifying that aura was. Following the direction of the energy fluctuation, Lin Yi raised his head and looked in that direction. Not far from the mountain peak, there was a flash of colorful lights in the blue sky. These lights contained a violent energy fluctuation, and a loud rumbling sound was like the thunder before a storm, causing Lin Yi to feel an indescribable pressure. Boom! This was the sound of the collision of energy. Lin Yi focused his gaze and found that the sound came from the cave at the top of the mountain, and the colorful energy collision also came from that cave. Boom! Another loud sound was heard, and the explosive energy carried sand and stones in all directions. The entire mountain was suddenly filled with flying sand and stones, and the originally pure sky suddenly became gray. Even though Lin Yi was a cultivator, he was still a bit afraid of this strange phenomenon. What is this sound? Is this a battle between experts? Is there someone there? Or are two spirit beasts having a sword duel at Mount Hua? Lin Yi took a deep breath and muttered to himself, "GG." Skybolt Pig nodded his head, then shook it. Is someone there? A man and a spirit beast are fighting? Lin Yi looked at Skybolt Pig in surprise. Chapter 2798. Lin Yi's jade didn't warn him, but even if there was an earth-shattering battle, it wouldn't hurt Lin. It made sense that the jade wouldn't warn him. A battle between a man and a beast. How did they create such a terrifying clash of energy? Lin Yi's eyes went wide, finding it hard to believe. Could it be that a participant was teleported to the top of the mountain, and there was a spirit beast there, and they started fighting? At the thought, Lin Yi hesitated. He didn't know if he should do something about it. Even if he didn't get close, Lin Yi could tell that the two weren't weak just from witnessing the battle from afar. It wasn't that Lin Yi couldn't create something like this, but Lin Yi made an energy bomb. So, it was strange that other people or spirit beasts could create something like this. Lin Yi was a little hesitant as he stared at the cave in the distance. There was still the sound of energy clashing, and the man and the beast were probably fighting fiercely. Should he go or not? At that moment, another thunderous sound rang in Lin Yi's ears. The ground beneath Lin Yi's feet started shaking, making Lin Yi hesitate. What if the person in the cave is Feng Shipian or Li Siba? Lin Yi hesitated. Of course, as far as Lin Yi was concerned, the person in the cave couldn't be Gu Xian, Qikuan, or Yang Qiqi. If it were those three, they'd be dead already. There was no way they'd be fighting so intensely with the spirit beast. The cultivator in the cave should be at least a heaven-rank initial stage expert. Let's go see. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. Since he was here, Lin Yi didn't want to leave the treasure in the cave, and he was worried about the person in the cave. Since the decision was made, Lin Yi didn't linger any longer. He strode towards the cave. The path to the mountaintop was easy, and Lin Yi sped towards the cave. Not far from the cave, the sounds of battle were getting clearer and clearer, and the energy coming from the cave made Lin Yi feel a pressure he'd never felt before. At this moment, Lin Yi finally understood that the person fighting here was definitely not just a Sky-class early phase. It was very likely that he was a Sky-class late phase or even a Sky-class late phase peak. Even standing at the entrance of the cave, Lin Yi couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. That powerful aura wasn't something he could handle. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yi wanted to give up. But since he was here, he wasn't willing to not take a look. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Yi carefully walked towards the cave. When he arrived at the entrance of the cave, the first thing that caught Lin Yi's eyes was a huge spirit beast. This spirit beast was abnormally huge, even bigger than any spirit beast Lin Yi had seen before. Its body length alone was a full 10 meters. It had 4 sturdy claws, a long tail, a long neck, and on its back, there was a row of hard sword-like teeth. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Yi had seen too many strange spirit beasts, he would have thought that he had returned to the Jurassic or Cretaceous period. Because this was clearly a dinosaur. Although Lin Yi couldn't tell what dinosaur it was, no matter its size or appearance, it was a living dinosaur. Looking at the strength of this spirit beast, Lin Yi was shocked. This was actually a spirit beast with the strength of the great perfection late stage of heaven stage. This was a spirit beast whose cultivation was infinitely close to the heavenly Dao. Moreover, it seemed to be a spirit beast with super strong attack power. Roar! What Lin Yi didn't expect was that along with the howl of this dinosaur, it actually spat out a ball of fire from its mouth. This was actually a mutated dinosaur that could spit fire? In a blink of an eye, the target of the ball of fire was a human cultivator. What surprised Lin Yi was that the human cultivator was actually a young girl. That curvaceous body, that light yellow tight miniskirt, Lin Yi was quite taken aback. He didn't think that it would be a female practitioner fighting the dinosaur. The girl in the yellow dress quickly formed a seal with her hands, activating some sort of martial art. A strong light shot out of her hands like a pillar of water, hitting the ball of fire. As expected of a sky-class late-phase peak master. Lin Yi was shocked as he tried to recall if there was a master as strong as this among the people who participated in the trial. But the Sky Elixir Sex test was different from the Ice Palace's test. During the registration, Kong Ming didn't check the strength of the applicants one by one, nor did he reveal their background. So, only those who were familiar with each other would know about the others. Lin Yi was the same. He was busy talking with Feng Shiban, Li Siba, Gu Xian, Qikuan, and Yang Qiqi. He didn't pay attention to the others, so Lin Yi really didn't have much of an impression of this girl. Boom dash! The sound of thunder exploded in Lin Yi's ears once more. Since the distance was too close, the sound seemed to be transmitted into Lin Yi's body, making Lin Yi's legs tremble. Too strong. The ball of flame and the water column collided, producing a huge collision of energy. That was also the reason why the loud sound came out. Roar dash! The dinosaur roared again, not stopping. From its mouth, it spat out another huge ball of energy, but this time it wasn't a fire, it was a ball of water. This shocked Lin Yi. Just what kind of spirit beast was this? It was spitting fire just now, and now it was spitting water? Was this spirit beast a fire or a water element? However, if Lin Yi was shocked at this moment, then he was completely confused in the next moment. This girl, the girl who had just released the water pillar technique, actually pointed at the water ball with her right hand, and a fireball shot out from her fingertip. Boom dash! The sound of thunder rang out once more, but this time, Lin Yi didn't move. He was in a state of confusion. Lin Yi couldn't figure out the attributes of this spirit beast, and this girl's attributes were driving Lin Yi crazy as well. The ball of water and the fireball collided once more, and after a huge explosion, they slowly dissipated. Chapter 2799. But now, the dinosaur didn't seem to be doing anything, but the girl was starting to get tired. Oink oink. The pig's cry reminded Lin Yi that he wasn't here to watch the fight, but to search for treasures. It seemed like the treasure the pig was referring to was in this cave. The pig's cry was far from the dinosaur's roar and the thunderous sound of the energy collision, but it still caught the girl's attention. She turned to the entrance of the cave and saw Lin Yi. This was the first time Lin Yi saw the girl's face, and it made him hold his breath. Even though Lin Yi had a lot of beauties around him, he was still deeply shocked by the girl's beauty. How could there be such a beauty in this world? It wasn't that Meng Yao and Yushu weren't beautiful, but the girl in front of him had an indescribable aura around her. It was a feeling that deeply attracted Lin Yi. Although Bingtang was also a sky-class late-phase peak beauty, compared to the girl in front of him, Bingtang's aura was cold and not aura. The girl evidently didn't expect someone to come at this time. She paused and said, "You are also a participant this time, right? Can you help me? We'll hold this beast together, we just need 10 more minutes." "Why should I help you?" Lin Yi didn't let the girl's beauty get to his head. The girl was beautiful, but Lin Yi wasn't the type of person who would get dizzy after seeing a beauty. This beast was clearly very dangerous, and even the girl, a sky-class late-phase peak, Couldn't do anything about it. Wouldn't he be seeking death if he went? I have 2 herbs for the trial in my bag. If you help me, I can give you one as a reward, the girl said. Lin Yi was hesitating when the dinosaur made another move. Evidently, the dinosaur had noticed Lin Yi as well, but perhaps it thought that Lin Yi was weak, or that Lin Yi hadn't entered the cave yet, so the beast didn't turn to attack Lin Yi. As Lin Yi and the girl were talking, the dinosaur spat out another. More accurately, it had a metallic glow to it. Lin Yi froze. This beast spat out water and fire, and now it spat out a metallic energy ball. Just what kind of element was this beast? The girl didn't have time to say anything to Lin Yi. She hurriedly activated a technique as well, and a beam of golden light shot out from the girl's hands, wrapping around the golden energy ball. The two fused together, enlarging and exploding. At this moment, Lin Yi really couldn't figure out where the dinosaur and the girl came from. It wasn't strange for the beast to be able to use metal, water, and fire attribute skills, but the girl could also use metal, fire, and water attribute skills. This was simply outrageous to Lin Yi. Could it be that this girl was a tri-attribute cultivator? Just as Lin Yi was puzzled, suddenly a multicolored light emitted from inside the cave. This was the same multicolored light that Lin Yi saw from afar. When he reached the entrance of the cave, Lin Yi was still puzzled as to why he didn't see the same multicolored light in the cave. He didn't expect that the same multicolored light would appear inside the cave at this moment. Awoo! The dinosaur roared angrily, and Lin Yi was shocked. This roar was far louder than the previous roars, as if the dinosaur was angry. However, what puzzled Lin Yi was that after the dinosaur roared, it didn't use any skills. Instead, it just stood there, motionless. Looking at the girl again, her face was full of shock. However, there was a hint of relief on her face, as if she had achieved some kind of goal. This strange situation, no matter how one looked at it, was incomparably strange. Lin Yi didn't know what was happening, and he wanted to leave. However, the multicolored light emitted from the cave seemed to have a mind of its own, calling out to Lin Yi, "Come in! Come in quickly!" Lin Yi's legs seemed to be guided by something involuntarily, and he walked into the cave. Cold sweat immediately dripped from Lin Yi's forehead. This was the first time he encountered such a strange situation. He couldn't control his legs. It must be said that it was normal to not be able to move one's legs after being frightened, but this was the first time Lin Yi encountered a situation where his legs were walking on their own. However, Lin Yi couldn't stop now even if he wanted to. He was attracted into the cave, and he was about to approach the dinosaur. Stop. Lin Yi's forehead was covered in cold sweat. If he passed by the dinosaur and it threw a fireball at him, wouldn't he die on the spot? However, Lin Yi couldn't control his legs. 1 step, 2 steps. Lin Yi was getting closer and closer to the dinosaur. However, when Lin Yi passed by the dinosaur didn't even look at Lin. It was still angrily staring at the source of the multicolored light in the depths of the cave. Until Lin Yi walked past the dinosaur didn't react at all. Lin Yi's heart suddenly relaxed, but his legs still couldn't control him as he walked deeper into the cave. He was about to reach the place where the girl was just now. At this time, just as Lin Yi was about to say something to the girl, the multicolored light in the depths of the cave suddenly became dazzling and dazzling. That dazzling light instantly enveloped the entire cave. Lin Yi's vision turned into a multicolored light in an instant. He couldn't see anything else. Even the girl and the dinosaur that were right in front of him disappeared. That multicolored light didn't seem to be as simple as light. In the next moment, Lin Yi felt that the multicolored light seemed to be an invisible pressure that invaded Lin Yi's body from the depths of the cave. It made Lin Yi's body feel a stabbing pain. This feeling was like something was about to enter his body. It was like a sign before a breakthrough, but it was also completely different. That multicolored light was like true energy that entered Lin Yi's body bit by bit. The stabbing pain became more and more intense. Chapter 2800. After Lin Yi confirmed that the light wouldn't harm him, Lin Yi closed his eyes and stood there. Since he couldn't resist, he might as well enjoy it quietly. 5-element sect. Patriarch Xianzhen's expression wasn't good. "Xianzhen, why didn't you tell me that you wanted her to participate in the trial?" Don't you know that it's very dangerous? And the place she's going to is the most dangerous of all dangers. Patriarch Xianxia frowned as he looked at Patriarch Xianxia. Second senior brother, she's going to accept the inheritance. This is for the great plan of our 5-element sect. Patriarch Xianxia smiled. I know she's your proud disciple, but have you thought about it? If you stop her from accepting the inheritance just because she's your disciple, will you be able to face the ancestors of our 5-element sect? This Patriarch Xianxia was speechless. Indeed, compared to the inheritance, nothing was as important. But you should have told me. I need to be prepared, even if I didn't say it, second senior brother already knows. Patriarch Xianxia smiled. It seems that second senior brother has a lot of connections in the Heavenly Elixir sect. You're quite well informed. Patriarch Xianxia's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly felt that he had said too much. However, from what Patriarch Xianxia said, it seemed that he already knew that Patriarch Xianxia had a close relationship with the Heavenly Elixir sect. Sigh, so many Earth rank and Heaven rank trial takers have been sacrificed for the great plan of our sect. How can I bear to do that? Patriarch Xianxia sighed. I'm not just worried about her safety. I'm more worried about the lives of those cultivators. The Heavenly Elixir sect's trial isn't forced to participate. If they die, they can only blame themselves for not being strong enough. Who can they blame? Patriarch Xianxia didn't care. Sigh, it's not easy for cultivators to cultivate to this level. They have suffered countless hardships to advance to this level. If they die just like that. Patriarch Xianxia said helplessly. Second senior brother, you're too benevolent. How can those who do great things be soft-hearted? For the sake of our Heavenly Elixir sect's grand plan, even if we sacrifice all the ancient sects, so what? Patriarch Xianxia said indifferently. Sigh. Ancestor Xianxia didn't agree with Ancestor Xuanqian's approach, but he couldn't say anything. Firstly, his authority in the Heavenly Elixir sect wasn't as high as Ancestor Xianxia, so it was useless for him to say anything. Secondly, Ancestor Xianxia always used the 5-elements sect's grand plan to suppress him, so he couldn't say anything else. All right, second senior, although she is your disciple, she is also my spy. I'm more worried than you. Patriarch Xianxia still had use for Patriarch Xianxia, so he naturally wouldn't offend him too much. Thus, he consoled, actually, if you want to blame someone for this, it's the person who crippled Tagon Long. If it weren't for him, why would we need to use a spy? XT Senior Patriarch do long as XT long as XTT long get XT well as he got the blame. Well Ancestor well XT well. He in my eyes, whoever is weak is to be blamed, Patriarch Xianxia said. Patriarch Xianxia didn't say anything else. He knew it was useless to say anything else. Heavenly Elixir sect. Kong Ming rushed back with Tianji. Although Kong Ming didn't show up the next day, he was waiting for Tianji at the inn. When Tianji returned, they would return to the Heavenly Elixir sect together. Big brother Kong, the young sect master is looking for you. As soon as Kong Ming returned, he was stopped by Little Peach. The young sect master is looking for me? I'll be right there. Kong Ming didn't even bother to go to the toilet. He went to the courtyard where the silkworm transformation was located with Little Peach. Big brother Kong, the young master doesn't seem to be in a good mood these 2 days. Little Peach went to serve him, but was driven out by him. You have to be careful in a while. Don't anger the young master. Little Peach reminded him on the way. Oh, really? Then I'll have to be careful. Kong Xiaoming quickly nodded and remembered it in his heart. I don't know why the young master is so angry. What should I pay attention to later? Actually, it's nothing. The young sect master will be in a bad mood for a few days every month. Little Peach didn't continue. How many days a month do you feel down? It's not like a woman is on her period. Why would he be in a bad mood? Kong Ming asked curiously. Shoo. Little Peach's face changed and she was shocked. Big brother Kong, don't talk nonsense. Be careful of getting yourself killed. You slandering the young sect master is a capital offense. I know. Kong Ming was also shocked. He looked around and said, Aren't I telling you now? I don't dare to say it to others. Little Peach nodded and said, "Generally, at the end of every month, when the people below report the medicinal pill sales data, the young sect master will be in a bad mood. Don't guess randomly." "I understand." Kong Ming Ming quickly nodded and said yes. But it doesn't seem to be the end of the month now?" Little Peach was also a little confused. She shook her head and said, "Don't ask so much." Kong Ming Ming nodded and no longer asked. The two people came to the courtyard where Heavenly Silkworm Transformation was located. It was still the courtyard from before. Little Peach knocked on the door and said to the inside, "Young sect master, Elder Kong is here." "Oh, invite him in." In the courtyard room, Heavenly Silkworm Transformations in different voice came. Little Peach hurriedly pushed the door open and walked into the courtyard with Kong Ming Ming and entered the room. "Little Peach, you go make tea." Heavenly Silkworm Transformations seemed to be reading something. After Kong Ming Ming and Little Peach came in, he put the book in his hand aside and then instructed Little Peach. "Yes, young sect master." Little Peach hurriedly went to make tea. "Young sect master, I haven't seen you for a few days. You seem to have become much more handsome." Kong Ming Ming raised his head and met Heavenly Silkworm Transformation's gaze. He felt that Heavenly Silkworm Transformations seemed to have become much more handsome after not seeing him for a few days. He was originally prepared to carry shoes for Heavenly Silkworm Transformation, so he naturally wouldn't let go of this good opportunity to flatter him. However, Heavenly Silkworm Transformation frowned and interrupted Kong Ming Ming's words. "Elder Kong, let me ask you. How many Heaven Stage Trial Takers and Earth Stage Trial Takers participated in this trial?" Chapter 2801. "Oh, then I'll have to trouble you, Xiaoming." Silkworm Transformation nodded. "It's no trouble. It's my honor to be in charge of this for you," Kong Xiaoming said as he took out a booklet from his pocket. It was the booklet he had registered before. Kong Xiaoming opened it and started counting. After a while, he said to Tian Silkworm, "Young master, there are a total of 24 Sky Class Masters, 19 Earth Class Masters, and 8 Mystic Class Masters. There's no need to report the Profound Stage Masters." Silkworm Transformation waved his hand and interrupted Kong Ming Ming's words. Then he said to himself, "A total of 43, 2 a day, almost 22 days. It should be enough time for them to return safely." "Young master, what did you say?" Kong Ming Ming didn't understand what Silkworm Transformation was talking about. "Nothing." Silkworm Transformation shook his head and looked relieved. He said to Kong Ming Ming, "Xiaoming, don't mention what I asked you just now to anyone." "Don't worry, young master. I'm your dog. If you don't let me bark, I won't dare to." Kong Ming Ming said quickly. "That's good." Silkworm Transformation nodded and said, "I'm a little tired." Xiaoming can also see that young master seems to be a little tired. "Do you want me to give you a massage?" Kong Ming Ming asked. "Massage?" Silkworm Transformation was stunned. He hesitated but didn't answer immediately. "Young master, do you forget that Xiaoming's massage skill was taught by Xianxia ancestor? It's very good." Kong Ming Ming saw Silkworm Transformation's hesitation and felt that there was a chance. "Oh, okay, Xiaoming, come on." Silkworm Transformation nodded, indicating that Kong Ming Ming could give him a massage. When Kong Ming Ming saw that the Silkworm Transformation had agreed, he was overjoyed. He thought to himself, "Sure enough, hard work pays off. As long as you have perseverance, you can grind an iron bar into a needle." He quickly got up and carefully stood behind the Silkworm Transformation, massaging his head and shoulders. Little Peach went to brew some tea and walked into the room with the tea tray. Suddenly, she saw Kong Ming Ming massaging Heavenly Silkworm Transformation. She was so shocked that she almost dropped the tea tray in her hand. She was shocked in her heart. Kong Ming Ming was really bold. He actually dared to massage Heavenly Silkworm Transformation? What was even stranger was why Silkworm Change agreed to have Kong Ming Ming massage him. However, when Little Peach saw that Heavenly Silkworm Transformation seemed to appreciate Kong Ming Ming, she was happy and worried. She placed the tea tray on the table and said, "Young master, the tea is ready." "Oh, Xiaoming, your massage is almost done. Drink some tea. I'm going to read too." As Heavenly Silkworm Transformation spoke, he picked up the book beside his hand. It was a book on alchemy. Then Xiaoming won't disturb young master. Xiaoming will leave first. How could Kong Mingming dare to drink tea? He knew that Heavenly Silkworm Transformation was just being polite by asking him to drink tea. Heavenly Silkworm Transformation had already gone to read, so why would he drink tea? Oh, then Little Peach, help me send Xiaoming off. Heavenly Silkworm Transformation waved his hand and said to Little Peach, then find something to do. I want to read by myself. Little Peach quickly agreed and left Heavenly Silkworm Transformation's room with Kong Mingming. When the two of them left the courtyard together, Little Peach breathed a sigh of relief and said, Brother Kong, why are you so bold to massage young master? I was just asking. I didn't expect young master to agree. Kong Mingming was also a little puzzled and said, is it because young master thinks that I'm reliable and thinks highly of me? It's possible, but you still have to be careful. Little Peach also felt that it was a little strange. Don't worry, young master seems to be very happy. When I become his confidant, I will propose marriage to him. Kong Mingming said, at that time, we will both be his confidants. Okay. Little Peach wanted to say something more, but she was fascinated by Kong Mingming's proposal. She was looking forward to it. In the cave, the colorful light had been flickering for a long time. According to Lin Yi's estimation, it was at least a day and a night, or even longer. However, this feeling of pain and happiness made Lin Yi feel comfortable. The light seemed to be nourishing the meridians in Lin Yi's body, but it didn't seem to be meridians. Lin Yi didn't know what it was, but it made him feel very comfortable. At this moment, he felt like he was in a mysterious space, and the time around him seemed to have stopped. He didn't know how much time had passed, but the light in front of him gradually dimmed, and he returned to reality from the mysterious state he was in before. A beautiful face appeared in front of Lin Yi. It was the beautiful woman in the cave before. Only then did Lin Yi realize that he was so close to her. The two of them were almost face to face, and they were about to touch. Lin Yi could see the beautiful woman, and the beautiful woman could naturally see Lin Yi. She was also shocked by Lin Yi, who suddenly appeared in front of her. She exclaimed in surprise. Lin Yi just wanted to explain that he couldn't help it. He was about to take 2 steps back, but he didn't expect a loud roar to suddenly come from behind Lin Yi. The dinosaur seemed to have returned to its normal state, and suddenly let out an angry roar. A powerful energy flow directly pushed Lin Yi to the body of the beautiful woman in front of him. Lin Yi opened his mouth to speak, and the beautiful woman was also stunned. So the two mouths of Lin Yi and the beautiful woman were facing each other. The strong energy flow pushed the two to the ground, just like how Lin Yi had pounced on the girl. Both of them had just recovered from the shock, and hadn't used their arts to protect themselves yet, so they fell to the ground easily. The two of them kissed, and this feeling couldn't help but make Lin Yi stunned. He didn't expect that the two of them would meet in such an ambiguous scene. However, this wonderful feeling made Lin Yi's heart instantly moved. Although it was the first time they met, anyone would be moved by such a beautiful woman full of spiritual energy. The girl's body trembled. She also didn't expect this scene to appear in front of her. She pushed Lin Yi away and glared at Lin Yi. You still don't want to get up? Chapter 2802. The girl glared at Lin Yi, feeling a little embarrassed. This was her first kiss, and she didn't expect to lose it here. However, although she was angry, she didn't forget what was happening in front of her. Although the light of 5 evils was successfully activated, she didn't expect the dragon of 5 evils to return to the cave early. She didn't know whether the inheritance was successful or not. Moreover, the most important thing now was how to successfully escape from here. Looking at the dragon of 5 evils, it was obviously extremely angry. Its eyes had turned red, as if it was going to swallow someone. Be careful! The beautiful girl didn't have time to blame Lin Yi at this moment. She saw the dragon of 5 evils spit out a fireball, which smashed right at Lin Yi's back. Boom! Lin Yi didn't have time to dodge and was hit by the dragon of 5 evils fireball. Suddenly, the skin on Lin Yi's back was torn open. This was even after Lin Yi heard the beautiful girl's reminder and quickly circulated the mantra to protect his body. Otherwise, even if Lin Yi didn't die, it would be hard for him to survive. Even so, Lin Yi's back was still hit until it caved in. If it was a normal cultivator, they probably wouldn't be able to survive. The beautiful girl also took advantage of this moment to climb up from under Lin Yi's body. She glanced at Lin Yi, and a trace of sympathy flashed in her eyes. Just now, when the Dragon of Five Evils suddenly activated its skill, if it wasn't for Lin Yi blocking in front of her, perhaps she wouldn't have been able to dodge it in a short time. Even if her strength was higher than Lin Yi's and she wasn't beaten so badly, she probably wouldn't have been able to escape in a short time. Therefore, the beautiful girl's heart was still filled with gratitude towards Lin. If it wasn't for him blocking, she would have been in danger today. Therefore, when Lin Yi forcefully kissed her before, the beautiful girl didn't have much resistance and dissatisfaction in her heart. At this time, the beautiful woman also put her palms together and formed a seal. She suddenly pushed them out, and a strange light shot out from her hands towards the Five Evils dragon. Lin Yi took this opportunity to quickly crawl to a safe place on the side. He quickly activated the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, preparing to heal his injuries. His injuries were too severe. If he didn't heal in time, he might die. When Lin Yi saw the beautiful woman going to fight the Five Evils dragon, he heaved a sigh of relief. However, at the same time, he suddenly felt that the martial technique that the beautiful woman had executed was somewhat familiar. However, because Lin Yi had hurriedly dodged to the side, he did not see it clearly. Moreover, Lin Yi was in a rush to recover from his injuries, so he did not have the time to think about it. Boom! The beautiful woman's martial skill exploded on the Five Evils dragon's body. The Five Evils dragon retreated 2 steps and roared furiously. Its voice was filled with rage. It seemed that the beautiful woman's martial skill had angered it, and the martial skill that she had used was most likely an ultimate martial skill. Roar! The Five Evils dragon had clearly lost its patience. Previously, it had only activated its martial skill. Perhaps it had the mentality of teaching the beautiful woman a lesson, but perhaps because the beautiful woman's martial skill was very powerful, it did not want to continue fighting with her. It stretched out its claws and clawed at the beautiful woman. The beautiful woman cried out in alarm. Even if she was a peak late-stage heaven-class expert, she was no match for the Five Evils dragon in terms of size and speed. She was instantly caught by the Five Evils dragon's claws, and the Five Evils dragon's nails directly pierced into the beautiful woman's chest. The beautiful woman's face immediately turned pale. It seemed that the Five Evils dragon had not used its full strength before. What happened afterwards had angered the Five Evils dragon, so it lost its patience and directly grabbed the beautiful woman. Although Lin Yi wanted to help, he could not even take care of himself right now. How could he have the time to save the beautiful woman? Moreover, even if he did save her, Lin Yi was no match for the Five Evils dragon. Even a peak late-stage heaven-class expert's martial skill was ineffective against the Five Evils dragon. How could Lin Yi defeat it? The Five Evils dragon was obviously not stupid. It grabbed the beautiful woman and went all the way to the entrance of the cave. It grabbed the beautiful woman's claw and spun it a few times in the air. Then it let go. The beautiful woman was like a cannonball. With a whoosh, she was thrown towards the back of the mountain and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The corner of Lin Yi's mouth twitched. At this moment, he realized that a peak late-stage heaven-class cultivator was helpless and insignificant in front of a powerful spiritual beast. Especially in front of such a huge spiritual beast. Lin Yi finally understood why the trial map had specially marked this place as an extremely dangerous place. With the Five Evils dragon here, perhaps only a heavenly Dao expert could go against it. After the beautiful woman was thrown away, the Five Evils dragon turned around and walked step by step towards Lin Yi in the cave. Lin Yi's forehead instantly broke out in a cold sweat. However, there was nothing he could do at this moment. Not to mention that Lin Yi was heavily injured. Even if he was not, he would not be a match for the Five Evils dragon. If it was a blessing, it would not be a disaster. If it was a disaster, he could not avoid it. Lin Yi carried this kind of fearless attitude and continued to madly use the second level of the art of dragon mastery to heal his injuries. However, the Five Evils dragon had no intention of letting Lin Yi go. It reached out and grabbed Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi was luckier than the beautiful woman. The 5 evils dragon's nails did not pierce into Lin Yi's body. Then, the 5 evils dragon turned its body nimbly and grabbed Lin Yi, walking towards the entrance of the cave. It seemed that he was most likely going to end up like the beautiful woman and become a flying man. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and looked at Skybolt Pig, who was at the entrance of the cave. At this moment, this little fellow was saying something to the 5 evils dragon. However, the 5 evils dragon obviously had no intention of paying attention to him. It was annoyed by Skybolt Pig's words. It reached out and grabbed Skybolt Pig and Lin Yi together. Just like before, it swung its claws twice and with a whoosh, it threw both Lin Yi and Skybolt Pig towards the back of the mountain. All Lin Yi could hear was the sound of the wind. He was flying towards the valley at the back of the mountain at an extremely fast speed. Lin Yi did not dare to slow down. Although the 5 evils dragon did not use any skills, its terrifying speed was already too much for Lin Yi to bear. If he did not use his true qi to protect his body, he would probably become a pile of minced meat. Skybolt Pig, be careful when you land later. Don't forget to use your true qi to protect your body. Otherwise, both of us will die. Lin Yi reminded as he flew. GG. Skybolt Pig nodded. Chapter 2803. Originally, Lin Yi was already severely injured. Now that he was thrown by the 5 evils dragon, he was forced into the space of the jade pendant. Lin Yi's injuries were too severe. At this moment, he couldn't care less about Skybolt Pig and the beautiful woman's injuries. Lin Yi could only heal his own injuries first. After entering the space of the jade pendant, Lin Yi quickly activated the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to heal his internal injuries. Time was always slow when it came to healing, especially when he was worried about Skybolt Pig and the girl's safety. All he could do was increase the speed of his practitioner's arts as fast as he could, to heal himself as fast as he could. However, what Lin Yi didn't expect was that the mental cultivation method was circulating faster and faster. It was like a speeding car that was out of control. It was getting faster and faster. It was so fast that it was frightening. Lin Yi quickly slowed down the circulation speed of the mental cultivation method. However, even though Lin Yi slowed down the circulation speed of the mental cultivation method, in reality, the circulation speed of the mental cultivation method did not slow down at all. Moreover, Lin Yi realized that the huge amount of vital energy in the space of the jade pendant was rushing into his body from all directions. This sudden change shocked Lin Yi. What's going on? I just want to heal my injuries quickly. Why does it feel like I'm losing control of my mental cultivation method? Is this a sign of qi deviation? However, this feeling gave Lin Yi a familiar feeling. It seemed like he had experienced this before. The vital energy surged endlessly into Lin Yi's body. In an instant, Lin Yi felt like his body was about to explode. However, there was nothing he could do. He had already stopped the circulation of the mental cultivation method, but it was of no use. Cold sweat broke out on Lin Yi's forehead. What's going on? Could it be that I really have qi deviation? Lin Yi asked anxiously, Jiao Lao, what's going on? I can't control my true qi. What should I do? What should we do? Jiao Yazi glanced at Lin Yi and said indifferently, Isn't this normal? Very normal? Lin Yi was stunned. He was about to die from anxiety. Jiao Yazi actually used such a calm tone to talk to him. It was simply frightening. Yeah, aren't you going to break through soon? This is a good thing. Why are you so scared? Jiao Yazi said indifferently. What? Breakthrough? Haven't I only been in Earth class late phase for a few days? Lin Yi was even more stunned. He had just broken through to the late stage of Earth class, and hadn't even touched the barrier to the full circle. How could he have broken through? Wasn't this a little too fast? Who told you that you're about to break through to late Earth class? Jiao Yazi rolled his eyes and said, I'm talking about your art of dragon mastery. You're about to break through to the second stage and reach the full circle of the second stage. Cough cough. Lin Yi was so shocked by Jiao Yazi's words that he almost vomited blood. He was just about to ask when he suddenly remembered the first time he entered the space in the jade pendant. Indeed, when he broke through to the full circle of the first stage, the feeling was very similar to what he was feeling now. No wonder Lin Yi felt that it was familiar. It was the first time he broke through his practitioner's heart. It had been a long time, and Lin Yi had been breaking through in terms of strength the whole time, not his practitioner's heart, so he'd forgotten about it. Thinking of this, Lin Yi finally calmed down and allowed the energy around him to flow into his body. At this moment, Lin Yi's body was like a magnet, constantly absorbing the energy around him. The energy in Lin Yi's body was increasing, and gradually, Lin Yi felt that his body could no longer withstand the huge amount of energy. Then his whole body exploded like a firecracker. With a loud bang, the clothes on his body instantly turned into charred pieces, flying in all directions. Breakthrough. Lin Yi didn't think that he would reach the full circle of the second stage of the art of dragon mastery so quickly. Originally, this was something that would make Lin Yi jealous and have a headache, but he didn't expect to break through while he was healing. But that's not right. Didn't they say that the prerequisite for breaking through to the full circle of the second stage of the art of dragon mastery was to convert the 5 elements in his body into real elements? But he didn't accept the inheritance, so how did it become real? Thinking of this, Lin Yi couldn't be bothered to enjoy the pleasure of breaking through, and quickly asked Jiao Yazi, "Jiao Lao, the virtual elements in my body haven't been converted into real elements, so how did I break through to the full circle of the second stage of the art of dragon mastery?" Of course. You now have the 5 elements of real elements, except for the mist and ice elements. But this won't affect the breakthrough of the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, because those 2 elements are sub-elements, so there's no need to convert them for now. Jiao Yazi said, Already converted? When did it happen? Don't I have to go to the place of inheritance to accept the inheritance? Lin Yi was stunned, and felt that it was a little strange. When did he accept the inheritance? Just now. Jiao Yazi said, Just now. Lin Yi was stunned, and suddenly remembered the strange thing that happened in the cave. At that time, he seemed to be in a strange and mysterious state. Could it be that was the inheritance? But even if it was the inheritance, it wouldn't be the inheritance of 5 elements at once. The 5 elements were converted into real elements at the same time. This made Lin Yi feel like he was dreaming. When I was in the cave? That's the time. Jiao Yazi nodded and said, Although I also don't know why you accepted the inheritance there is indeed the origin of the 5 elements there. Could it be that the land of 5 evils means the 5 elements? Lin Yi frowned. Previously, the characteristics of the qi of 5 evils seemed to be similar to the qi of the 5 elements. Could it be that he accidentally came to the land of 5 evils and accepted the inheritance? I'm not sure about this. Jiao Yazi said, I haven't been here either, but one thing is for sure, you have accepted the inheritance. Why do you still want to find out why you accepted the inheritance? Chapter 2804. Although Lin Yi's inheritance was fundamentally different from theirs, since Lin Yi could inherit it, they should also be able to inherit it. Lin Yi suddenly thought of a very important question. Jiao Lao, even if I can inherit the 5 elemental origin energy here, isn't there a prerequisite for inheriting the 5 elemental origin energy? That is, I have to make a series of complicated preparations, unlike normal inheritors who only need to comprehend the inheritance themselves. I didn't make any preparations, right? You didn't do it, but it doesn't mean that others didn't. Jiao Yazi said faintly, maybe it was done by that dinosaur or that little girl. After being reminded by Jiao Yazi, Lin Yi suddenly thought of an incomparably important matter. It was that beautiful girl's ultimate killing technique. At that time, Lin Yi felt that it was a little familiar, but because he was injured, he didn't have time to think about it. But now that he thought about it, Lin Yi suddenly felt that this technique was actually a little similar to his own technique. Yes, this is the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm. Connecting this to the strange brilliance on the girl's palm, Lin Yi suddenly thought of the scene when Tagan Long activated the technique. This girl actually knows the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm. This discovery made Lin Yi's heart jump. Could this girl be from the Tagan family? Perhaps she's Tagan Long's sister? However, she could also be from the 5 elements sect and had nothing to do with the Tagan family. However, no matter which force the girl belonged to, whether it was the Tagan family or the Five Elements sect, she was still Lin Yi's enemy. Thinking of this, Lin Yi was a little hesitant. Should he save her or not? Lin Yi didn't want to save an enemy to deal with him for no reason. Although the beautiful girl was very beautiful, the poisonous mushroom was also very beautiful. If he ate it, he would die. When the art of dragon mastery reached the second level, Lin Yi realized that his injuries were all healed. Lin Yi quickly returned to reality from the space in the jade pendant and saw Skybolt Pig anxiously guarding Lin. Skybolt Pig, are you alright? Lin Yi looked at Skybolt Pig in shock. Skybolt Pig didn't seem to be injured at all. GG. Skybolt Pig nodded and wrote on the soft ground with his paw, "My fur will stand up and it will act as a buffer." After he finished writing, the Skybolt Pig purposely stood up for Lin Yi to see. Then he bounced on the ground. This made Lin Yi speechless. This Skybolt Pig could even turn into an elastic ball. No wonder nothing happened. How's the girl? Lin Yi's heart was currently in a dilemma about the beautiful girl in yellow. Should he save her or not? If he saved her, Lin Yi was afraid that this person would turn against him and refuse to save her. Lin Yi thought about how he forcefully kissed her and how she reminded him when the Five Evils dragon attacked him. If it wasn't for her warning, he wouldn't have been able to activate the incantation in time to protect his body. If it wasn't for her warning, his injuries would have been even more severe. He didn't even know if he could have survived the fall from the valley. In a sense, the girl was Lin Yi's savior. If Lin Yi didn't save her, he wouldn't be able to bear it. GG. Skybolt Pig stretched out his paw and pointed in a direction not far away. You mean she's over there? Let's go and take a look. Lin Yi stood up and walked with Skybolt Pig in the direction it pointed. As he walked, Lin Yi observed the place he was at. This was the valley behind the Five Evils mountain. Lin Yi looked up and saw that he had fallen from the Five Evils mountain range. His face changed instantly. This was a valley that couldn't be climbed. The mountain wall in front of him was extremely smooth. There wasn't even a foothold to climb. It wouldn't have mattered if the mountain was a bit short. Lin Yi was an Earth-class late-phase master, after all. He could jump up and try a few more times, and he would be able to reach the top. But this mountain was too high, and there was no way he could jump up. This mountain range was endless. Lin Yi didn't know if there was an end to it. At least, from the looks of it, Lin Yi couldn't go up. On the other side of the mountain range was a vast open space. Lin Yi didn't know what was on that side. In short, he couldn't see the end of it. This made Lin Yi's heart go cold. That dinosaur from before was really bad. It actually threw him into such a remote place. Even if he didn't fall to his death, he wouldn't be able to go back. He would be trapped to death here. At first, Lin Yi was thinking about whether or not he should save the beautiful woman. But now, it seemed that one more person meant one more strength. Lin Yi still didn't know how to escape from here. Having another heaven-class late-phase master by his side was always a good thing. Moreover, if he didn't say anything, the beautiful woman wouldn't know that he was her enemy. Let's get out of this place first. Then we'll go our separate ways. Following the direction that Skybolt Pig pointed, Lin Yi found the beautiful woman in the yellow dress in a pile of rubble. Looking at her, the beautiful woman in the yellow dress didn't suffer any other injuries except for the fatal wound on her chest. However, the girl's originally ruddy face was now extremely pale. It was enough to show that her injuries were not light. It seemed that when she fell down the cliff, she used the mantra to protect her body. That was why she didn't fall from such a high place without being smashed into meat paste. However, because she used all of her true chi to protect her body, she didn't seal the wound on her chest, causing her internal injuries to worsen. Lin Yi bent down and checked the girl's breath. She was still breathing, which made Lin Yi heave a sigh of relief. The beautiful woman in the yellow dress didn't die. Lin Yi began to check her injuries. Originally, Lin Yi thought that as long as he used the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery to heal her internal injuries, it would be fine. But when Lin Yi took a closer look, he found that something was wrong. On the chest of the beautiful woman, there was a white dinosaur nail fragment that had pierced into her heart. It was so deep that it had almost pierced through her entire chest. If he didn't remove the dinosaur nail fragment, then even if Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery, he wouldn't be able to heal the beautiful woman's injuries. After all, it was an external obstruction. Chapter 2805. Therefore, in order to ensure that the beautiful woman could hold on, Lin Yi decided to heal her injuries first. Once the injury on her chest was healed, he could cut her open and take out the dinosaur nail. Anyway, she was a heaven stage practitioner. If she couldn't bear this little pain, how could she have the strength of a heaven stage practitioner? Thinking of this, Lin Yi didn't waste any time. He directly grasped the veins on the beautiful woman's wrists and quickly used the art of dragon mastery. In an instant, Lin Yi's true qi surged into the beautiful woman's body. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that after the second stage of the art of dragon mastery reached perfection, the healing speed was so fast. It was more than a third faster than before. Lin Yi was immediately overjoyed. This way, when he fought with a heaven stage practitioner, whether he was injured in battle or recovering his true qi after using a big move, he would be able to heal much faster than before. This was a life-saving measure. In fact, the yellow dress beautiful woman's injuries weren't as serious as Lin Yi's. Lin Yi was hit by the dinosaur's skill, but the yellow dress beautiful woman only had her chest pierced by it. In comparison, Lin Yi's injuries were more serious. However, the yellow dress beautiful woman's injuries were already very serious in the eyes of other practitioners. A small rejuvenation pill couldn't save her, unless there was a third stage great rejuvenation pill. The beautiful woman's injuries were quickly recovering under the effect of Lin Yi's all-purpose true qi. And Lin didn't have to be too nervous with the skybolt pig guarding him. He focused on healing the beautiful woman and didn't have to worry about the safety of the people around him. But now, it seemed that there weren't any spirit beasts in this valley. The skybolt pig stood beside Lin Yi lazily, looking around. Finally, the beautiful woman's injuries were all healed. Except for the dinosaur nail on her chest, all her injuries were healed. However, Lin Yi only healed her injuries. He didn't help her recover her true qi. Lin Yi wasn't familiar with her, and he didn't know if she would be hostile to him when she woke up. So, he had to wait until she woke up to determine if she was a friend or foe. After the beautiful woman's injuries were healed, Lin Yi undressed her. Although Lin Yi was a miracle doctor, he didn't have X-ray vision and hands. He couldn't perform surgery on the beautiful woman through her clothes. So, Lin Yi had to undress her chest and perform the surgery. Of course, Lin Yi could wait for the beautiful woman to wake up and do it herself. But it was very dangerous. The beautiful woman wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a doctor. First, it would be very difficult to perform surgery on herself. Secondly, the dinosaur nail should be pierced to the side of the beauty on the beautiful woman. Lin to be, the beautiful woman's heart to be. But Lin Yi wasn't afraid. He could use the art of dragon mastery to heal her. So, Lin Yi decided to help her to the end. He removed the nail from her chest. But Lin Yi was a little worried. He had to take off her clothes to heal her. What if she woke up and killed him? It wasn't that Lin Yi was overthinking, but with Yang Chi as an example, Lin Yi had to be careful. With that thought, Lin Yi quickly used his finger to press on the beautiful woman's body a couple of times. One was to seal the acupuncture points on her chest, and the other was to seal her acupoints so that she wouldn't be able to move even if she woke up. The beautiful woman was a Sky-class late-phase peak, but she had used up most of her energy during the fight with the 5-Bane dragon. The last bit of energy she had was used to protect her body when she fell off the cliff. Lin Yi had already checked her. She had almost no energy left in her body. Even if she woke up, she wouldn't be able to use her energy to break through the seal. Lin Yi was doing this just in case. After everything was done, Lin Yi took off the clothes on the beautiful woman's chest. She wasn't wearing a brassy, she was only wearing a piece of yellow silk. Lin Yi took a deep breath and gritted his teeth as he took off the silk. A pair of snow-white jade rabbits jumped out into Lin Yi's sight. There was a dinosaur nail in the middle of the two rabbits, but it didn't affect the beauty at all. The wound had been repaired by Lin Yi, and all that was left was a dinosaur nail. Lin Yi's breathing quickened as he looked at the beautiful scene in front of him. What surprised Lin Yi was that they really were big. They weren't as big as Yushu's, but they were big enough compared to the girls Lin Yi knew. Lin Yi couldn't understand why they didn't look this big on the outside. Was it because he was bound by the yellow silk? Lin Yi shook his head. The beautiful woman probably thought that her big breasts would affect her agility in battle, so she used the silk to bind them. With a shake of his head, Lin Yi quickly prepared for the surgery. He took out a small knife and sterilized it with pure energy before making a quick cut on the girl's chest. He'd learned from old Lin since he was young, and his knife was fast and accurate. There was no hesitation at all, and the cut he made was just big enough to pull out the dinosaur's nails. Lin Yi quickly pulled out the nail and threw it to the side before reaching his hand out to touch the beautiful woman's wound. In actuality, Lin Yi could have healed her by holding her pulse, but he didn't know why he reached out and touched it. That soft, smooth, and wonderful feeling made Lin Yi's heart skip a beat. He subconsciously used his hand to knead it a couple of times. Lin Yi didn't know why he did that, but the beauty in front of him had an indescribable attraction to him. It was just like when he first laid eyes on her at the entrance of the cave. His heart had moved a little. Lin Yi didn't understand why, but there was something about the beautiful woman in front of him that made him want to do it. However, Lin Yi was a person who had gone through strict training, and his willpower was very strong. After a short moment of lust, he suddenly remembered that there was a deep wound on the beautiful woman's chest. He hurriedly used the art of dragon mastery and started to heal the beautiful woman's injury. The beautiful woman woke up as the injuries on her body healed. She thought she was going to die, and no one knew the situation better than she did. She was thrown off the cliff by the 5 Banes dragon with serious injuries. Even if she had chi to protect her body, if she didn't take a recover pill in time after falling, she would have died without a doubt. Chapter 2806. Therefore, even the beautiful woman herself did not think that she would be able to wake up. She felt that the functions in her body were recovering bit by bit. In a daze, it was as if someone was pinching her chest. The beautiful woman did not have any true chi in her body at all, and she was a little confused and dizzy. Therefore, even if she felt that something was wrong, she was unable to care about what had happened. It was not until Lin Yi's second level of the art of dragon mastery began to circulate and began to heal the wound on the beautiful woman's chest that the beautiful woman felt a burst of warmth in her body, causing her to wake up a little. And this time, the beautiful woman clearly felt that there was a pair of hands on her chest. The beautiful woman was shocked. She opened her eyes and saw that Lin Yi had his eyes closed and his hands on her chest. "What are you doing?" The beautiful woman subconsciously exclaimed. She wanted to slap him away, but she found that not only did she not have any true chi in her body to support her to do so, she could not even move if she wanted to. It was as if someone had sealed her acupuncture points. The beautiful woman was proficient in the art of medicine and alchemy. She knew about the human body's acupuncture points and the sealing of acupuncture points. Although she did not know how to do it, she still understood a little. She knew that there were some external cultivators who knew this kind of martial arts. However, at this moment, she did not have time to think about this. What she was thinking about now was what Lin Yi was going to do. The beautiful woman was ashamed and angry. Her beautiful eyes were wide open as she stared at Lin Yi. Her eyes could not wait to spit out flames of anger and burn Lin Yi to death. "Healing your injuries." Lin Yi was also shocked when he saw that the beautiful woman had woken up. However, when he thought that her acupuncture points had been sealed by him and there was no true chi in her body, Lin Yi did not care. His hands were still on the beautiful woman's chest, healing her internal injuries. "Healing my injuries?" The beautiful woman was taken aback. She was not a brainless and impulsive person. Although she was extremely angry at the moment, after being reminded by Lin Yi, the beautiful woman suddenly realized that the injuries in her body had actually healed. The beautiful woman knew exactly how badly she was injured. She glanced to the side and saw the bloody nails of the 5 Evils dragon. The beautiful woman immediately understood that Lin Yi must have helped her remove the nails of the 5 Evils dragon. However, even if he had helped him remove the 5 Evils dragon's nails, how had he helped him heal his injuries? Could it be that he has a 3rd-grade great revitalizing pill? Or did he discover the 2 great cyclic pills on him? However, the beautiful woman denied her own thoughts. It was impossible for Lin Yi to have a third-grade great revitalizing pill. Otherwise, he would not have asked Kong Ming for a third-grade great revitalizing pill. He should not have been able to refine it himself. In fact, in the cave, the beautiful woman recognized Lin Yi's identity when she first saw Lin Yi. She knew that he was Lin Yi and also knew some things about Lin Yi. The beautiful woman did not expect to meet Lin Yi here. Moreover, Lin Yi actually dared to go to the Five Evils Mountain. Could it be that Lin Yi stole my 2 great revitalizing pills? He had taken one himself, and now he was giving himself another one? This was the only explanation the beautiful woman could think of. After all, Lin Yi had suffered serious injuries. She knew very well that he was hit by the Five Evils Dragon skill and was thrown off the cliff by the Five Evils Dragon. It was already good enough that he did not fall to his death. How could he have healed her injuries? However, even if Lin Yi took away her great revitalizing pill and took it, the beautiful woman would not blame Lin Yi. On the contrary, she felt that Lin Yi was a righteous person. If it was any other cultivator, if they found a great revitalizing pill on her, they would probably eat one and then take another. They would never let her eat it. They would leave her to fend for herself. How could they waste a great revitalizing pill? Therefore, the beautiful woman was very grateful to Lin Yi. If he had not given her a great revitalizing pill, she was afraid that she would have walked on the road to hell. Yes, how else do you think you recovered? Lin Yi pretended to be extremely serious and continued to massage the beautiful woman's chest as he defended his actions. The beautiful woman's expression changed slightly. A sharp light flashed in her eyes. Originally, she was very grateful to Lin Yi, but she did not expect that Lin Yi would take the opportunity to act like a hooligan. The beautiful woman suddenly had a murderous intent in her heart. Are you healing me? My injuries were healed by the great revitalizing pill. You used your hands to touch me, and you can heal me? Do you want to die? What great revitalizing pill? Lin Yi was stunned. He also felt the beautiful woman's killing intent. However, Lin Yi was also a little annoyed. I was saving you. Although I could have saved you without touching your chest, I touched it to save you. Besides, I brought a dead person back to life. Not only do you want to repay me with your body, but you also want to kill me? In anger, Lin Yi could not help but increase the strength of his hand. The beautiful woman was so angry that her face turned ashen. She wanted to jump up and kill Lin Yi, but she did not have any true qi in her body. Her acupuncture points were also sealed. However, this also gave the beautiful woman time to calm down. She wanted to say that Lin Yi was taking the opportunity to act like a hooligan and take advantage of her, but at this moment, she clearly felt that there was a burst of warmth coming from Lin Yi's palm, and the injury on her chest was miraculously healing. She was a cultivator at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. Her perception was not ordinary. The healing of the wound made her extremely shocked. After feeling this strange change, the expression on the beautiful woman's face changed from anger to astonishment. What she did not expect was that Lin Yi was really healing her. Could it be that he could heal with his hands? The beautiful woman's beautiful eyes looked at Lin Yi in shock. Did he not use the great revitalizing pill? Yes, even if he used the great revitalizing pill, the injuries on her body would at most heal and scab. It was impossible to grow new skin so quickly. This was not realistic. Moreover, there would still be scars on her body. After all, no matter how powerful the great revitalizing pill was, the wound caused by the Five Evils Dragon's nails was too big and too deep. It was difficult to not leave a scar. What's wrong with me? Linist. Nothing. Thank you. The beautiful woman was a little shy. Although she felt that it was difficult for her to accept being pressed on her chest by Lin Yi was her savior. The beautiful woman was not a person who could not distinguish between good and bad. Chapter 2807. But Lin Yi wasn't the kind of person to get entangled in trivial matters. Since he knew, Lin Yi continued to heal the beautiful woman. Although it was only a wound on her chest, it was very deep. It was as if her heart had been pierced through, so it wasn't something that could be healed in a short time. The beautiful woman wanted to stop Lin Yi. She wanted to take the great recovery pill herself because the feeling of Lin Yi touching her chest was really strange. It made her feel hot and shy. But the beautiful woman was a girl after all. Even if she was a peak late-stage heaven-rank cultivator, she didn't want to have a scar on her body. Lin Yi's magical healing technique made the beautiful woman a bit reluctant. This was something the Great Recovery Pill couldn't replace. Moreover, the value of a Great Recovery Pill was not low. Even with her status, she only had 2 of them on her person. This was the entire stock of the sect, so she didn't want to waste a Great Recovery Pill just like that. Gritting her teeth, the beautiful woman closed her eyes and thought, since I've touched it before, it doesn't matter if it's a while longer. Time flew by quickly. Since the beautiful woman was unable to resist, she could only quietly enjoy it. Although she felt a little embarrassed at first, after a long time, this kind of numbing feeling made her breath slightly faster. This was the first time that the beautiful woman's body was touched by a man. This kind of wonderful feeling made her want to resist, but she also welcomed it. However, the beautiful woman was a rational person. After a moment of confusion, her mind regained its calmness. The pain in her chest had already disappeared. The beautiful woman opened her eyes and glanced at her chest. She found that besides the area covered by Lin Yi's palm, there was no longer any wound. And the area covered by Lin Yi's palm didn't feel any pain other than that wonderful feeling. It doesn't hurt anymore. Do you still want to continue healing? The beautiful woman couldn't help but ask. It's already healed? Lin Yi's mind was a bit lost before. He was mechanically circulating the second layer of the art of dragon mastery. After being reminded by the beautiful woman, he suddenly realized that the girl's chest injury had completely healed. He said with some embarrassment, "Sorry, I was too engrossed in healing. Invest." The beautiful woman was stunned for a moment before her face turned red. She understood Lin Yi's intentions and could not help but glare at Lin. "Then can you take it away now? I want to help you consolidate." For some reason Lin Yi said this sentence. "You're courting death." The beautiful woman glared at Lin Yi, but for some reason her desire to kill Lin Yi had faded a lot. Hee. Lin Yi quickly moved his hands away, and a pair of perfect jade rabbits jumped out. "Turn your head." The beautiful woman felt a chill in her chest. When she looked up, she saw Lin Yi staring at her with a lecherous look. She immediately became anxious. Lin Yi also felt that his previous behavior was a bit inappropriate, but this also made Lin Yi feel strange. He was not a person who was easily obsessed with lust. What was going on today? The girl in front of him seemed to have an indescribable attraction to him. As for why, Lin Yi could not explain it. After Lin Yi turned his head, the beautiful woman quickly wanted to tie the yellow silk back to her chest. However, when she raised her hand, she realized that her acupuncture points were still sealed. If she had true qi in her body, it would not be a problem. She could break through the acupuncture points on her own, but she did not. She hesitated for a moment and could only say, "Hey, N?" Lin Yi asked, but he did not turn his head. "Help me unseal my acupuncture points," the beautiful woman said anxiously. Lin Yi just remembered that the beautiful woman's acupuncture points had not been unsealed. He quickly turned around, but he could not avoid seeing the charming jade rabbit on the beautiful woman's chest. "You're still looking?" The beautiful woman glared at Lin Yi. "How can I unseal the acupuncture points if I don't look? Are you going to reach out and poke around?" Lin Yi asked. "You look." The beautiful woman was a little speechless. "This is what you want me to look at?" Lin Yi continued to look, then reached out his hand and lightly poked the beautiful woman's body a few times. After that, Lin Yi directly turned around. Although the temptation here was greater, Lin Yi still decisively resisted. This was an expert at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. She was not an ordinary little girl. After Lin Yi recognized this, he did not dare to casually provoke her again. The beautiful woman tried for a while, and sure enough, she could move her body. She quickly picked up the yellow silk on the ground and quickly tied up her chest. She tidied up her clothes, but she did not immediately call Lin. Instead, she looked at Lin Yi's back with a complicated look in her eyes. With her style of doing things, she should have killed Lin Yi, but she didn't know why, but she didn't want to do it. Was it because Lin Yi was her savior? The beautiful woman touched the small box on her body and opened it. There were 2 perfectly intact pills inside. At this time, the beautiful woman was completely sure that Lin Yi didn't use her pills. In other words, Lin Yi healed his injuries first, and then healed his own? The beautiful woman was very clear about how serious Lin Yi's injuries were. She found it hard to imagine that Lin Yi could actually heal himself and then heal himself. He's really amazing. No wonder little 1 and little 13 returned in defeat, and Han Jingjing could actually recover after suffering such heavy injuries. And Boss Bai's injuries, did he also heal them? Thinking of this possibility, the beautiful woman was shocked by her own thoughts. If that was the case, then Lin Yi was simply too powerful. However, no matter what, the beautiful woman didn't have any enmity with Lin. She couldn't mediate the enmity between Lin Yi and the 5 Elements sect. Not to mention even her master couldn't do anything about it. Therefore, the beautiful woman shook her head and temporarily stopped thinking about these things. Thank you, the beautiful woman said to Lin. Although Lin Yi inevitably took advantage of her while she was healing, the beautiful woman was still grateful to him. Without him, she might have already died. Chapter 2808. That's the 5 Evils Dragon. It's the master of the 5 Evils Savage Land. The beautiful woman was a little shy at first, but when it came to serious matters, she regained her composure and explained to Lin. The 5 Evils Dragon. Could it be a 5 elemental spirit beast? Linist. That's right. You should be able to tell from the skills it uses. The beautiful woman nodded. Oh, so you're saying that you're a practitioner of all 5 elements as well? Lin Yi pretended to ask casually. The beautiful woman's expression tightened slightly, but she still nodded and said, I'm a 4 elemental cultivator and 1 virtual elemental cultivator. Do you know about the 5 elemental cultivator and the virtual elemental cultivator? I know a little. Lin Yi nodded. He suddenly understood and was very surprised. This beautiful woman was a 4 elemental cultivator and 1 virtual elemental cultivator? Wasn't she too powerful? Let's not talk about this. Alright, what's your name? Are you also a trial taker participating in the Heavenly Elixir Sex trial? The beautiful woman didn't want to talk about her own problems. When she saw Lin Yi's surprised expression, she changed the topic. Lin Yi didn't hide it. There was no way to hide it. Other than the trial takers, is there anyone else here? That's true. The beautiful woman nodded. She reached into her bag and took out a spiritual herb. She handed it to Lin Yi and said, This is the spiritual herb I promised you. It's needed for this trial. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Lin Yi nodded and accepted it. What's your name? Which sect are you from? My name is Tian Chan. I'm a loose cultivator. The beautiful woman hesitated for a moment before saying her name. However, she lied about her sect. Right now, her sect should have some conflict with Lin Yi. She didn't know why, but Tian Chan didn't want too much estrangement between her and Lin. Perhaps she didn't want him to feel that he had saved an enemy. That was what Tian Chan thought. Tian Chan? This area is built next to the water, and every family has its own shadow, just like its name. Lin Yi looked at Tian Chan and said emotionally. Tian Chan blushed. How could she not hear that Lin Yi was praising her beauty? Since she was a child, no one had ever praised her as a beauty. At this time, being praised by Lin Yi, Tian Chan couldn't help but feel a little shy. Alright, why did you come to the 5 Fiends mountain range? Tian Chan changed the topic and asked. She was a little curious as to why Lin Yi would come to the peak of the 5 Fiends mountain range. Oh, I went to look for treasures. Lin didn't hide it and told the truth. If he randomly came up with a reason, Tian Chan wouldn't believe him. Treasure hunt? Tian Chan was stunned. Oh, this is it. Lin Yi took out the Essence Energy Inner Core and showed it to Tian Chan. Essence Energy Inner Core? You actually found this thing? Tian Chan was stunned. She didn't expect Lin Yi's luck to be so good. He actually found a Spirit Beast's Essence Energy Inner Core. You know what this thing is used for? Lin Yi didn't expect Tian Chan to recognize it at a glance. When Tian Chan heard Lin Yi's question, she couldn't help but be stunned. She hesitated for a moment but still said, It can be made into a protective necklace. However, it needs a blacksmith. Are you a blacksmith? Lin Yi asked. Tian-chan pursed her lips and nodded. You can say that. However, I've never forged anything before. Why don't you help me forge one? Lin Yi smiled and made a joke. One is not enough. I need at least 5. Tian-chan said, moreover, after this trial, I will return to my sect. You and I probably won't meet again. Hee hee, which sect are you from? Maybe we'll meet again in the future. Lin Yi asked. Tian-chan hesitated for a moment and became silent. She didn't want to lie to Lin Yi, but she also didn't want to reveal her sect. The Heavenly Elixir sect and Lin Yi still had a lot of hatred. Tian-chan didn't want to destroy their relationship because of her sect. As for why she cared so much about their relationship, Tian-chan didn't know. If it was in the past, she would definitely kill Lin Yi. But now, she didn't have this thought. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Tian-chan's silence made Lin Yi slightly surprised. However, he didn't ask further. Even if Tian-chan didn't say, Lin Yi could guess her origin. If she really came from the 5 Elements sect, it was normal for her to hide her sect's origin. Oh yes, why did you come to the 5 Fiends mountain range? I came to do something special. Tian-chan said. Did you succeed? Lin Yi asked. I don't know yet. Tian-chan shook her head. Thinking about what happened before, she was a little confused. Lin Yi knew that the two of them weren't familiar. Even if he was Tian-chan's savior, Tian-chan might not tell him the truth, and she might not tell him her purpose of coming here. After all, Lin Yi guessed that Tian-chan might be here to accept the inheritance. However, according to Boss Bai's words, the inheritance of origin power was different from the inheritance of perception. Every time the inheritance of origin power was passed down, only one person could successfully accept the inheritance. If he successfully accepted the inheritance, then Tian-chan should have failed to accept the inheritance. In this way, Tian-chan's previous preparation gave Lin Yi a ready-made advantage. If Tian-chan knew that Lin Yi accepted the inheritance, would she be so angry that she would kill him? Thinking of this, Lin Yi decided not to continue on this topic. Otherwise, if Tian-chan realized it, he would be in danger. After all, Boss Bai had said before that in order to accept the inheritance of origin power, a series of complicated preparations must be made. Before, Tian-chan might have already made the preparations, and now the inheritance might have failed. It was just that she herself didn't know it yet. As for Lin Yi, if it weren't for the fact that the art of dragon mastery suddenly broke through to the 2nd level, Lin Yi probably wouldn't think that he had already accepted the inheritance, because on the surface, it was hard to tell whether he had accepted the inheritance or not. How do we get out of here? This cliff is really high. How are we going to get up? Lin Yi suddenly thought of the most important question, which was how the two of them could leave from here. Being reminded by Lin Yi, Tian-chan raised her head and found the situation of the two of them. A touch of worry flashed in her eyes. Tian-chan looked around, and the worry on her face became more intense. After a while, she said, "It seems that we can't go up." Chapter 2809. One must know that the jumping height of a heaven rank expert was not on the same level as an earth rank expert. Even if Lin Yi's qigong was good, it did not mean that he could jump higher than a heaven rank expert. He could only run as fast as a heaven rank expert. This place is very high. With my jumping height, I can't jump up at all. Tian-chan looked at the cliff and shook her head. The worry in her eyes deepened. Why don't we go up from here and keep walking along the mountain? Linist, there must be an end to this mountain, right? Maybe, maybe not. Even if there is, there might be other dangers. Tian-chan shook her head. I know this place better than you. The other side of the 5 Fiends mountain is a dead end. Dead end? Lin Yi looked at Tian-chan in shock. That means, other than going back from here, there is no way out? That's right. Legend has it that the 5 Fiends mountain is a dividing line. On the other side of the 5 Fiends mountain lives a higher-level spiritual beast, the legendary heavenly beast. Tian-chan said, the 5 Fiends mountain range is where the previous spiritual beast kings of the land of 5 evils reside. When it successfully ascends to the heavenly Tao, it will give up the 5 Fiends mountain range to the successor, who is the new spiritual beast king of the land of 5 evils. The old spiritual beast king that ascends to the heavenly Tao will cross the 5 Fiends mountain range and go to the other side of the mountain range. Lin Yi was speechless. Originally, Lin Yi was hoping that there was a way out in the endless distance. But it seemed that there was no hope now. Since Tian Chan could come here to receive the inheritance, she must know this place better than him. Previously, a spiritual beast with the strength of a heaven-rank late-stage spiritual beast had already put them in a difficult situation. If they continued to walk forward and encountered a bunch of heavenly beasts, it would be equivalent to courting death. Lin Yi would rather wait for death here. It was better to go there and die. Then, there is no other way? Lin Yi said helplessly as he looked at the precipitous cliff in front of him. He never thought that he would be trapped in a valley one day. I can't think of anything for now. Tian Chan shook her head and frowned. No one knew what she was thinking. If we don't go out, will someone come looking for us? Lin Yi actually wanted to ask if anyone had come looking for Tian Chan. Since she was here to receive the inheritance, then she should be a very important figure in the 5 Elements sect. It was impossible for the 5 Elements sect to ignore her, right? I don't think so. Tian Chan shook her head. I'm not sure either. All right, are you hungry? I'll make something to eat and then we'll think of a way? Lin Yi asked. It's okay, I'm a sky class, so I don't need to eat. Tian Chan shook her head. But I don't have any pure qi left in my body, so I'm a little hungry. Then I'll go find something to eat. Lin Yi couldn't think of a good way to leave at the moment. He could only look for something to eat. He wasn't as familiar with the terrain as Tian Chan was, and if Tian Chan said there was no way, then there was no way. So, the only thing Lin Yi was considering was if he could climb up the precipitous cliff and not leave from another direction. Skybolt Pig, is there anything good to eat here? Lin Yi turned to Skybolt Pig and asked. This is Skybolt Pig. Tian Chan heard Lin Yi's words and focused on Skybolt Pig. She was a little surprised. You know Skybolt Pig? Lin Yi was startled. He didn't think that Tian Chan would know about Skybolt Pig. Yeah, I've read about it before. The elixir god Zhang Liju's contracted spirit beast. Why is it with you? Tian Chan paused and remembered that Lin had been to Zhang Liju's tomb before, so it wasn't surprising that he had Zhang Liju's contracted spirit beast. It was a coincidence that this little guy followed me. Lin Yi rubbed Skybolt Pig's head and didn't say much. He and Tian Chan seemed to be getting along well, but they were both holding back. Everyone had their own secrets that couldn't be told. I see. I heard that this little guy knows how to hunt for treasures. Is that true? Tian Chan asked. It's true, and it was this little guy who brought me here to find this essence energy core. Lin Yi said honestly. Like, Skybolt Pig nodded proudly. It's so cute, can I hug it? Tian Chan didn't think that she would meet Skybolt Pig here. This was her Grandmaster's contracted spirit beast, and Tian Chan felt that she would be affected by her Grandmaster's spiritual energy just by hugging it. Sure, but this little guy is shy. But before Lin Yi could finish, Skybolt Pig jumped into Tian Chan's arms. This made Lin Yi speechless. Are you two from the same family? What's with this little guy? Same family? Tian Chan froze. Our surname is Tian. Lin Yi smiled. You're the one from the same family as the pig. Tian Chan rolled her eyes at Lin. She was extremely charming, and Lin Yi couldn't help but hold his breath. Lin Yi laughed. It seems to like me very much? Tian Chan found that Skybolt Pig was very close to her. Still, I can't give it to you. Lin Yi said. Stingy. Tian Chan returned Skybolt Pig to Lin. However, after Tian Chan said this, she felt a bit strange. She actually had such a coquettish side. Was it because he saw her body? Or was it because he didn't know where he would go tomorrow at the bottom of this cliff? Lin Yi took Skybolt Pig and said, let's go find something to eat. Skybolt Pig seemed to be a bit hungry and excitedly ran in a direction with Lin. Tian Chan wanted to follow, but she thought that her body was very tired. She didn't have a trace of physical strength. At this time, she shouldn't waste her physical strength. It would be better for her to sit down and cultivate for a while. So Lin left. Tian Chan sat on the ground and began to absorb the heaven and earth ling qi. The 5 evils qi here was a nightmare for other cultivators, but for Tian Chan, it was a rare place to cultivate. The heaven and earth ling qi here was very pure. Although it was of the 5 attributes, she was also a cultivator of the 5 attributes. The 5 evils qi here would not have any adverse effect on her. Lin followed Skybolt Pig all the way to a natural pond. Skybolt Pig used his claws to point at the pond and then oink oink twice. Chapter 28:10. However, after Lin stood there for a while, he discovered that there wasn't a trace of true qi fluctuation in the pond. There shouldn't be any spirit beasts here. GG. The Skybolt Pig was drooling. Lin was helpless. He rolled up his pants and walked to the edge of the pond. However, Lin discovered that there were a lot of fish in the pond. Perhaps it was because there weren't any spirit beasts or people here all year round. The pond was already full of fish. Moreover, they were all very fat. Lin casually reached out his hand and caught a few big fish. Lin threw the fish on the shore and grabbed a few more. Then he went ashore and brought the Skybolt Pig back to the original place. There, he saw Tian Chan sitting cross-legged with her eyes closed, cultivating. Lin was slightly surprised, then he immediately thought of Tian Chan's attributes. She was also a cultivator of the 5 attributes, so it was normal for her to be able to use the 5 evils qi to cultivate. However, this 5 evils qi wasn't very useful for Lin. Although the 5 evils qi here was very pure, it wasn't as pure as the true qi in the space inside the jade pendant. Lin could only cultivate normally here. Tian Chan, do you want to eat fish? Lin asked. You're back. Tian Chan quickly recovered from her cultivation state. She discovered that she was too immersed in her cultivation. In the past, it didn't matter when she was in the sect because no one could harm her. Therefore, when Tian Chan was cultivating, she wasn't vigilant at all. But here, if Lin wanted to harm her, then she would really fall into his trap. However, Tian Chan had a second thought. If Lin really wanted to harm her, then why did Lin save her? At that time, he could have just given her a palm and she would have died. Why would he wait until now? Therefore, Tian Chan felt that she was thinking too much. There was no need to guard against Lin. Well, I only found fish here. I'm going to grill it. Do you want to eat it? Lin asked. Let's eat. Tian Chan showed an expectant expression. I haven't eaten for a long time. Lin laughed and said, if you want to eat, come and help me. There are no dead branches here. Tian Chan was taken aback. You are a 5 elemental cultivator, so you should also be an alchemist, right? Condense stand fire to roast fish. As Lin spoke, he placed the fish on the ground in order. Then, he condensed an alchemic fire and began to roast them. So, this works too? Tian Chan found it a little novel. In the sect, she had never used the elixir fire to roast fish. She had never even cooked dishes by herself, so she didn't know that the elixir fire could also be used to roast. I can tell that you are a socialite. You are naturally different from individual cultivators like us. Under all the harsh conditions, you have to rely on yourself to create the conditions, Lin said with a smile. Yes, it's fortunate that I met you. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have been buried under this cliff this time. Tian Chan said with a sigh. According to Patriarch Xianxia, there shouldn't be any danger for her to come here. However, who would have thought that the 5 evils dragon would return to the cave so early, causing her to experience such a thrilling scene? If it weren't for Lin who helped her heal, even if she had 100 recover pills, she wouldn't have been able to eat them. Tian Chan followed Lin Yi's example and condensed the elixir fire to roast fish. With the two of them roasting together, the process was naturally much faster. In the blink of an eye, the roast fish emitted a fragrant aroma. Tian Chan was really a little hungry. After the roast fish was done, she couldn't wait to take a big bite. However, she felt that it wasn't ladle-like enough. She blushed and lowered her head to eat the fish in small bites. However, she wasn't used to it. If you're hungry, then eat it. There are only the two of us here. You don't have to care too much about those etiquettes, Lin said. Although Tian-chan heard Lin Yi's words, she still ate the roast fish in a very polite manner. Lin Yi smiled and didn't say anything else. He picked up a roast fish and threw it to Skybolt Pig. As for Lin Yi, because he had just broken through to the second level of the art of dragon mastery, he didn't feel hungry at all. Skybolt Pig caught the roast fish and ate it in big bites. There was a total of 6 roast fish. Skybolt Pig ate 2, and the remaining 4 went into Tian-chan's stomach. When Tian-chan finished eating, she realized that she actually ate 6 roast fish. This made her a little embarrassed. It's okay. We're all cultivators. It's okay to eat a little more. Lin Yi smiled. It would have been better if Lin Yi didn't say it. After hearing it, Tian-chan became even more embarrassed. She glared at Lin Yi and said, "You still dare to say it? I'll kick you." Lin Yi smiled. He felt that the beautiful girl in front of him was very cute. Although she was a peak late-stage heaven class expert, her mind was a little pure. It seemed that she wasn't that old. Lin Yi knew that heaven class experts could maintain their appearance forever. Although they couldn't live forever, they could still maintain the appearance they had when they broke through to the heaven class. Although Tian-chan looked like she was 17 or 18 years old, she might actually be 40 or 50 years old. But from her current reaction, she shouldn't be that old. "How old are you this year?" Lin Yi asked. 19, how about you? Tian-chan was embarrassed. Lin Yi changed the topic and she was happy to answer. "Oh, I'm just 1 year older than you." Lin Yi said, "But you're actually a peak late-stage heaven class expert at such a young age. It's really rare. It seems that your sex strength isn't weak." "It's all right." Tian-chan didn't seem to be willing to talk about her sex matters. She didn't answer Lin Yi's question directly. Lin Yi saw that Tian-chan didn't want to talk about it, so he didn't say anything else. The only topic between the two of them was each other's sect, cultivation methods, and martial skills. But these things were confidential. If Tian-chan didn't say it, Lin Yi couldn't ask. As for other common things, he really didn't know what to say. After all, the two of them weren't very familiar with each other, and they didn't understand each other. Lin Yi raised his head and looked at the steep cliff. He was thinking about a way to leave this place. Staying here was not a solution. Although Lin Yi felt that the 5 evils chi shouldn't have any effect on him, he couldn't live here forever, right? Although living here with a beautiful woman like Tian-chan was a very enviable thing, Lin Yi had more important things to do. There's no foothold on this cliff, but when you jump, can't you use your hands and feet to make a dent on the cliff and use it as a foothold? Lin Yi suggested after carefully studying the cliff. Chapter 28:11. Then, she continued, you should have seen it before. When I was fighting with the dragon of 5 evils, our martial skills collided with each other. Although it produced a very powerful force, its cave didn't suffer any damage. Lin Yi was suddenly startled. Only now did he realize that something was wrong. The dragon of 5 evils had collided with Tian-chan's martial skills, and the resulting force was almost equivalent to Lin Yi's Zhenqi bomb. However, the cave of the dragon of 5 evils was not damaged at all. Moreover, Lin Yi's Zhenqi bomb had been able to explode the rocks in the Wulong Haut mountain range and at the school gate. In that case, it seems that my proposal won't work. Lin Yi smiled helplessly. It's not impossible. I can use my martial skill to create a depression in the mountain rock and then grab it. But with my ability, even if I have enough physical strength and true chi, I can only use my strongest martial skill 3 times. And with the height of my jump, if I want to jump to the top of the mountain, I will have to jump at least 20 times. I can't hold on for that long. Tian-chan shook her head helplessly and said, your proposal is feasible in theory. But it won't work in practice. But what if you recover your physical strength and Zhenqi for a while after 3 times? Lin Yi's heart moved and he suddenly asked, my hands and feet are clasped on the cliff. How can I use the mnemonic chant in that kind of tense state? I have to use all of my strength to concentrate on clasping the cliff with my hands and feet. Tian-chan shook her head and said, otherwise I will accidentally fall and die. Moreover, my mnemonic chant can only be used when I sit cross-legged and meditate. Lin Yi nodded. Tian-chan was right. Lin Yi's mantra didn't require him to sit cross-legged and meditate. However, what Tianchan said was right. At that time, all his attention would be placed on the cliff with his hands and feet. How would he be able to meditate? The slightest bit of relaxation and distraction would cause one to fall to their death. This method was still flawed. Lin Yi originally wanted to cooperate with Tianchan. Lin Yi would transfer physical strength and true qi to Tianchan, and Tianchan would only need to circulate the inner force chant. However, the current situation was that Tianchan could not circulate the inner force chant while holding onto the cliff. I have a way. Lin Yi hesitated and said, You have a way? Tianchan was slightly taken aback. I have a martial technique called Heavenly Spring Rain. It can consume my own physical strength and true qi to quickly restore my teammates' physical strength and true qi. Lin Yi said, At that time, you don't need to circulate the inner force chant. Just focus on holding onto the cliff, and I can restore your physical strength and true qi. Heavenly Spring Rain? Isn't this the martial technique of the everyday and everyday sect? You actually know it? Tianchan was slightly taken aback, but she had obviously heard of this martial technique. Really? Lin Yi was also taken aback. He didn't expect this martial technique to be passed down from the everyday and everyday sect. I got this martial technique from a friend. It doesn't have much to do with the everyday and everyday sect. You really have a lot of powerful martial techniques. Before, your true qi could heal my injuries. Now, your true qi can also be used by me. You have quite a lot of secrets. At this moment, Tianchan felt that it wasn't a coincidence that Lin Yi had a foothold in the hidden realm and began to attack the ancient realm, but Lin Yi really had the strength to do so. However, Tianchan was very curious. How did a rogue cultivator reach this step? Tianchan decided that after going back, she would carefully investigate Lin Yi's growth. This was the first time she was so curious about a person. Then can you keep it a secret for me? Tianchan knew too many of Lin Yi's secrets. Although the two of them seemed to have a good relationship, it was based on the situation where the two of them couldn't leave this place. Once the two of them left this place and separated, Lin Yi was also afraid that Tianchan would be pressured by the sect to say something. At that time, his secrets would be exposed. Okay. Tianchan unexpectedly nodded and agreed to Lin Yi's request. After agreeing, Tianchan felt that it was inconceivable. I actually agreed to keep it a secret for him? Is it because he saved me before? Perhaps, I'm not someone who doesn't know how to repay kindness. Thank you. Lin Yi didn't know why, but he also believed Tianchan's words. He always felt that there was an indescribable connection and trust between the two of them. As for what exactly it was, Lin Yi also didn't know. Now, let's think about how to leave this place. Although you have the Heavenly Spring Rain martial skill, even so, it will be difficult for us to leave this place. Tianchan shook her head and said, First of all, even if you can use martial skills to help me recover my physical strength, you can only recover once or twice, but can you recover a third time? I'm an expert with the strength of the peak late stage of heaven stage. First of all, I have more physical strength and true qi than you. Even if you give me all the physical strength and true qi in your body, I can only jump 2 more times. It won't play a decisive role. Moreover, there are 2 of us, how can we jump up together? Your 2 worries are actually not a problem. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, First of all, I can recover my physical strength and continue to use martial skills. Second, you can tie me behind you so that when you jump up, you can bring me along. You recover physical strength and true qi? Tianchan was stunned. How long will it take to recover? As far as I know, after continuously using martial skills, after using the body's physical strength and true qi, it is impossible to recover without a period of cultivation, right? I will be fine in a while. Lin Yi smiled. Look at me. Just now, I healed myself, healed you, and grilled fish. I used up a lot of physical strength and true qi. But now, my physical strength and true qi are full. Tianchan was shocked and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Lin Yi, on the other hand, deliberately operated the mantra, making Tianchan feel an obvious feeling of energy. After a while, Tianchan said, You are really amazing. There are not many people who can make me admire, but you are one of them. Hee hee, if it weren't for the fact that we are going through thick and thin together, I wouldn't have told you so many secrets. Lin Yi shrugged. What do you think of my suggestion? Chapter 28:12. In the past, Tian-chan wouldn't have agreed at all. She didn't have much physical contact with the opposite sex, but now it was different. The two of them were in a hopeless situation, and if they didn't do this, they wouldn't be able to escape. Plus, Lin Yi had seen things he shouldn't have seen, touched things he shouldn't have touched, and Tian-chan's immunity towards him, it was all him anyways, and Tian-chan's resistance wasn't as strong anymore. All right. Tian-chan finally nodded. I don't know how long it's been. Lin Yi had broken through in the jade space, and with the inheritance from the origin, he didn't know how long it had been. He wondered how Zhao Qikuan and the others were doing. What's wrong? Do you have friends who are participating in the trial outside? Yeah, I wonder how they're doing. Lin Yi said worriedly. Tian-chan was silent after listening to Lin Yi's words. She knew the nature of the Sky Elixir School's test. The practitioners who came here were basically sending themselves to death. Although it was cruel, Tian-chan couldn't do anything about it. Even her master couldn't do anything about it. She couldn't do anything about it. She could only let it be. But she couldn't say this to Lin Yi, so she changed the topic. How do I tie you to me? There aren't any ropes or anything like that here. Lin Yi looked around, and other than a bloody fingernail, there was nothing else. Lin Yi's eyes finally landed on Tian-chan's chest, as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't. Tian-chan felt uncomfortable being stared at by Lin Yi. What are you looking at? Your chest, the yellow cloth. Lin Yi said. Then, what about my chest? Tian-chan glared at Lin Yi and said angrily, should I show it to you? I'm behind you so I can't see it. Lin Yi sweated and said, besides, didn't I see it before? There's only the two of us here. Once we reach the top of the mountain, you can go back, right? Tian-chan felt a little embarrassed to do so. After all, this was different from when Lin Yi healed her. However, thinking about it, Lin Yi was right. There were only the two of them in this mountain range. Lin Yi had seen and touched it. In order to go up smoothly, Lin Yi's suggestion was acceptable. However, Tian-chan felt that it was a little inappropriate. Besides, your clothes are so long it can't be exposed, right? At most, it'll be faintly visible. Look at those car models on TV, there's so much exposed. Lin Yi said while the iron was hot. I'll kick you to death. I don't want to become famous. Tian-chan pretended to kick Lin Yi, but Lin Yi's words made her relax a little. She rolled her eyes at Lin Yi and said, how am I supposed to take it off if you look at me? I'll just treat it as watching you dance. Lin Yi smiled. I think you're looking for a kick. You're just a small Earth-class late phase. How dare you talk to a Sky-class late phase peak like this? Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you in one hit? Tian-chan looked at Lin Yi with disdain. I can kill Sky-class in one hit too. Lin Yi smiled. Zhang Naipeo brought 2 Sky-class mid-phase followers. I killed one of them. You can kill Sky-class mid-phase already? Tian-chan paused and looked at Lin Yi in shock. What do you mean by already? Did you know that I could do it in the past? Lin Yi paused as well. I was just shocked. Tian-chan was a little shocked. She didn't know that Zhang Naipeo's followers were killed in one hit. She just didn't expect Lin Yi to be this strong. Then you're still not my opponent. I can kill Sky-class mid-phase in one hit too. Then kill me. Let's not go up. Lin Yi said. You think I don't dare? Tian-chan raged. Why aren't you turning around? Lin Yi smiled and turned around. He had a strange feeling in his heart. Rock Candy was also a Sky-class late phase peak, but when she was with Lin Yi, she always treated Lin Yi with a cold attitude. But Tian-chan was different. Although she was a master, her personality was like a little girl. Lin Yi felt very happy when he was with her. Tian-chan hesitated for a moment. She untied the yellow silk on her chest and then carefully pulled the neckline to prevent her breasts from being exposed. However, it was impossible. The shape of the clothes was there. Tian-chan could only try to cover her body with the clothes. However, this kind of looming temptation gave Tian-chan a headache. Alright, you can turn around now. Tian-chan couldn't come up with a solution after a long time, so she called out to him. Are you deliberately seducing me? Lin Yi looked at Tian-chan and said, don't you know that this kind of feeling makes men go crazy? If you say it again, I will kick you into a eunuch. Tian-chan looked at Lin Yi coldly and said, if you say it again, I will tell you a story about killing the donkey after it has outlived its usefulness. Let's go up the cliff and settle the account. Okay. Lin Yi stopped smiling. He remembered that although the one in front of him was a beautiful woman, she was also a sky-class late-phase peak expert. She was an existence that could destroy him at any time. Now I will wrap the yellow silk around us. Help me. Tian-chan nodded. She looked at Lin Yi standing behind her nervously. Her delicate body trembled a little. She wanted Lin Yi not to get too close to her. But thinking about it, how could they be tied if they were too far away? What if they fell off halfway? If she wanted it to be sturdy, she had to be close to her body. Lin Yi took a deep breath. The smell of Tian-chan's body was very good. He didn't know if it was the fragrance of the shower gel or her own body fragrance. It made Lin Yi have an impulse to kiss her. He carefully stood behind Tian-chan. Lin Yi's heavy breath blew on Tian-chan's neck, giving her a strange feeling. It was a little itchy and a little uncomfortable. She couldn't help but say, if you don't blow on me, I am breathing normally. If I don't, I will die. Lin Yi said helplessly. Then turn your head. Tian-chan couldn't stand it and said, okay. Lin Yi tilted his head, but his body was directly attached to Tian-chan's body. Tian-chan's delicate body trembled, and she almost screamed. However, it was fine if Tian-chan didn't move. Once she moved, Lin inevitably had a physiological reaction. Chapter 28:13. I'm an Earth class. Where would I get a weapon? Lin Yi smiled bitterly, not knowing how to explain. Alright, we'll just tie the yellow silk around our bodies. It's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. Tian-chan panicked as she saw Lin Yi trying to change the topic. She reached out to grab it, but realized that something wasn't right. Her face flushed red, from her neck to her ears. She pulled her hand back as if she was electrocuted. You pervert! How is this pervert? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. This is a natural reflex. It means that you're pretty, and I'm attracted to you. If you looked like the 5 malefic dragon, it'd be weird if I had a reaction. You're the 5 malefic dragon. Tian-chan was embarrassed, but Lin Yi complimenting her beauty made her feel good. Which girl didn't like compliments? Especially when Tian-chan was in the sect. She didn't have a chance like this at all. Alright, don't move. It'll be done in a while. We'll use the yellow silk to tie us up, Lin Yi said. Alright then. Tian-chan felt uncomfortable with something poking at her back, but she had to act like she didn't feel anything in order to get back to the peak safely. She took the yellow silk from Lin Yi and wrapped it around her body before giving it back to Lin. Lin Yi took the silk and wrapped it around himself as well before giving it to Tian-chan. The two did this a few times, and finally, they became one person. It was quite similar to when Lin Yi was carrying Xiaoxiao in the Ice Palace. Done. Lin Yi tied a knot on the rope, making sure it wouldn't loosen. He turned to Tian-chan. It's done now. Okay, then I'll prepare to jump. Is there anything else you need to do? Tian-chan asked. The Sky Thunder Pig pointed at the nail of the 5 Evils dragon on the ground. Are you saying that this is a good thing? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Previously, he thought that the nails of the 5 Evils dragon were useless, so he casually threw them aside. But looking at the Sky Thunder Pig, it seemed to be a treasure? The Heavenly Thunder Pig nodded. That's right. Every part of the dragon of 5 Evils is a treasure. Tian-chan explained. This nail belongs to the Earth attribute. It's a heavenly treasure that can strengthen the physique of Earth attribute cultivators. However, it's useless to me. Since it's useful, let's bring it back. Lin Yi said to the Skybolt Pig, pick it up and carry it on my back. We are leaving. GG. The Skybolt Pig quickly ran over and picked up the nail with his mouth. Then, he jumped onto Lin Yi's body and grabbed onto Lin Yi with all 4 of his limbs. Okay, that's enough. Let's go up. Lin Yi said to Tian Chan. Tian Chan nodded and took a deep breath. Then, she said to Lin Yi, then I'll prepare to jump. Be careful. Lin Yi was tied up by the yellow silk, so he didn't need to hold on to Tian Chan's body. However, his lower body was pressed against Tian Chan, which made Lin Yi blush. However, the more he thought about it, the more he couldn't calm down. This made Lin Yi a little embarrassed, so he could only try not to think about it. Tian Chan couldn't do anything about it. She channeled the mantra and suddenly leaped up towards the cliff. Then, she pushed out her palms and slammed them against the cliff with all her might. Lin Yi could see that this should be the 5 elements Bagua Zhang, which was also Tian Chan's strongest move. Although Lin Yi wanted to secretly learn it, he also knew that even if he asked Tian Chan, she wouldn't tell him. Just like how Tian Chan didn't ask why he could heal her, even if he asked, she wouldn't tell him. Boom! Tian Chan used a lot of strength, but what she left on the cliff was only a shallow mark. It was barely enough for Tian Chan to hold on and prevent her from falling. Then, Tian Chan kicked hard on the cliff with both of her feet. Similarly, she only kicked a shallow mark on the cliff, so that she could temporarily hang there. Lin Yi, I can't do it. When I was dealing with the 5 evils dragon, my physical strength and true chi were almost used up. I just ate something and it was better, but after I used this move, my body has no physical strength and true chi at all. Tian Chan hurriedly said to Lin, I can't hold on for long. This position is very uncomfortable. Quickly help me replenish my physical strength and true chi. But Lin Yi did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly used the mantra of the heavenly spring rain. However, it was still a bit difficult for Lin Yi to use this position, but he finally succeeded. Heavenly spring rain. The 5th move. The first move of the heavenly spring rain could transfer true chi to 1 person, the second move could transfer true chi to 2 people, and the 5th move could transfer true chi to 5 people. Right now, there was only Tian Chan beside Lin. Using the 5th move was equivalent to transferring 5 portions of true chi to Tian Chan at the same time. This way, the physical strength and true chi in Lin Yi's body could be transferred to Tian Chan quickly. On Lin Yi's hands, a light blue mist of true chi suddenly appeared. Then, as Lin Yi activated the martial skill, the light blue true chi suddenly left Lin Yi's hands and floated in the air. Then, like spring rain, it poured into Tian Chan's body. In an instant, Tian Chan felt that her physical strength and true chi were quickly restored. It didn't take long for Lin Yi's physical strength and true chi to completely enter Tian Chan's body, and Lin Yi became a weak person. It's really magical, Tian Chan said with a sigh. I really didn't expect this martial skill to be so magical. My physical strength and true chi suddenly became a lot more abundant. Although it's not at its peak, it's not a problem to jump 2 more times. That's good. After using the heavenly spring rain, Lin Yi didn't care about anything else. He quickly entered the Jade space and activated the 2nd stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery to recover the physical strength and true chi that he had lost. After resting for a while, Tian Chan jumped up again, this time to a higher altitude. She activated the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm, and so on, behind the 5 Fiends Mountains, the 5 Fiends Barren Grounds. Nai Peo was very lucky. The place he was teleported to was the closest to a safe place. Chapter 28:14. This safe place was marked out on the map, but any practitioner with a bit of intelligence could tell that it was a natural moat. It didn't matter if it was a beast or a bird, they wouldn't be able to get in here. Spirit beasts were usually bigger, and they didn't have much attack power. As long as a practitioner hid here, no spirit beast would be able to harm them. Emoba found this place pretty quickly. The two met up on the first night of the test. Gunslinger, did you get the elixir for the test? Emoba. No, there's none nearby, and I didn't look for it. Wait, this place is pretty obvious. It won't be long before other practitioners find their way here, and we'll just take it for ourselves then, Nai Peo said faintly. You're right, with Gunslinger's abilities and skills, he wouldn't need to go find it himself at all. Only an idiot would go find it himself. Emoba said respectfully. Let's rest for a bit, Nai Peo said faintly. The chi here is quite thick, I'll train for a bit. Gunslinger, Didn't they say that the five's malevolence is harmful to practitioners? Why are you? Imoba said, startled. Ha, look at what kind of arts I'm practicing, my wasp absorption arts. What chi can I absorb? As long as it's chi, it doesn't matter if it's five's malevolence chi, or even poison. Nai Peo laughed casually. This place is perfect for me to train, and I'll take some time to consolidate my strength. And so, Nai Peo trained while Imoba stood guard beside him. Their luck wasn't that good, however, as they didn't see a single practitioner the whole time. Imoba couldn't help but panic. Liang bro, something's not right, we've been waiting for so long, why haven't we seen a single practitioner? How long has it been? Let's wait, there's no need to rush, Nai Peo said calmly. Nai Peo hadn't even finished his words when he heard voices coming from outside the safe place. Someone was coming. Master Yang, we're really lucky, there's a place here that looks pretty good, we can avoid the attacks of spirit beasts. The person outside said. Indeed, we can hide here and rest for a while before rushing to the teleportation array. The person called Young Hero Yang said. He was an expert from the Flame Mountain and was a peak mid-stage heaven rank expert. The one who spoke to him was an Earth-class mid-phase master from the Dark Palace, and the other one who didn't speak was also an Earth-class early-phase master from the Dark Palace. Both of them were just there to carry young Hero Yang's shoes, but following behind a peak heaven-class mid-phase master could greatly reduce the danger. Look, they had met a mystic-class spirit beast earlier, and it was beaten away by young Hero Yang. Although they didn't have much of an advantage, if these two Earth-class masters from the Dark Palace went up against it, then even if they didn't die, they would be heavily injured. Moreover, with young Hero Yang's protection, they were able to successfully collect the trial's elixir. Although there was only one for each of them, it was already very good. If the two of them were to act alone, they might not be able to collect the elixir and might even lose their lives. After you, young Hero Yang, Disciple A said, and made a gesture of invitation. Young Hero Yang nodded and led the way into the safe area. However, he paused when he saw Nai Peo and his follower Imoba here as well. But, young Hero Yang wasn't too afraid. As far as he was concerned, he was a sky-class mid-phase peak after all, and as long as he didn't provoke Nai Peo, then Zhang Nai Peo wouldn't do anything to him. The two disciples from the Dark Palace followed young Hero Yang in, and they too paused when they saw Nai Peo. They were a little fearful, but remembering that Nai Peo was only a sky-class early phase, and his follower Imoba mid-phase, while young Hero Yang was a sky-class mid-phase peak, they calmed down. The three of you seem to be very satisfied with your harvest? Imoba grinned and suddenly asked the three of them. What do you mean? Disciple B turned around, a little wary. It's nothing, hand over the elixir, and Gunslinger will let you live. Imoba said faintly. Hand it over? But Disciple B was startled. He came with a mission this time. He needed to get a chi-gathering pill from the Sky Elixir sect, allowing the sect master to level up from Earth-class late-phase peak to Sky-class early phase. This was the last chance, and while the chi-gathering pill had its drawbacks, the drawbacks would disappear once the inheritance was mastered, and there would be no more barriers to leveling up. The time for that plan was getting closer and closer, and if the Dark Palace wanted a piece of the pie, they had to hurry. The problem now was that the sect master Yi Wan, hadn't broken through to Sky class yet, and the higher the strength, the higher the chance of mastering the inheritance. The Dark Palace had no other choice but to resort to this. But because Gunslinger can decide your life and death. Imoba humphed coldly, if Gunslinger wants you to live, you'll live. If he wants you to die, you'll die. Aren't you being too overbearing? Disciple B couldn't help but say. Overbearing? From the moment you stepped into the ranks of practitioners, you should know what it means to be the strong preying on the weak. Isn't it a little too late to talk about overbearing now? Imoba said with disdain. All right, we're all here for the test, and I don't want to hurt our friends. Our gunslinger's principle is, hand over the item, and we won't kill you. If you want to live, then do it quickly. If you want to die, then I won't stop you. Disciple B was about to say something when the other disciple A pulled him back. He gestured to Disciple B to see what young warrior Yang had to say. The strongest person here was young warrior Yang, and the two of them were only Earth classes, They didn't have much say here. Hero Yang, you mean? Dark Palace disciple A looked at Fire Mountain's Hero Yang. Zhang Naipeo, don't push yourself. If we really fight, I'm not scared of you. I'm a Sky Class mid-phase peak, different from that Tu Junwang early phase peak. Yang was quite pissed as well. He'd been flattered by the first and second disciples on the way here, and now that he was being robbed by Naipeo, it was only natural that he wasn't happy about it, especially in front of his two followers. How could he back down? Chapter 28:15. Not scared? Then I'll stand here and let you hit me. Let's see what you can do. Naipeo laughed as he looked at Yang in disdain. I'm not trying to brag, but even if I told you to hit me, you wouldn't be able to do anything to me. Is that true? You're not going to do anything? Yang knew how Tu Tua got hurt, but he didn't believe that Naipeo would just stand there and let him hit him. Why would he be scared? As far as he was concerned, he'd be fine as long as he didn't touch him. He'd heard of Naipeo's achievements in the Ice Palace, and he knew that Naipeo had a skill called the Wasp Absorption Arts, which allowed him to absorb the practitioner's strength for his own use. It was probably the same thing right now. Tu Tua was injured because his hand touched Naipeo's body, and he had to avoid that problem. Of course, Naipeo said faintly, with your strength, you're not worthy of me doing it myself. Alright, if that's the case, then don't blame me for what I'm about to do. Yang calmed down after hearing Naipeo's words. With a wave of his hand, a ring appeared on his waist, and he started chanting some sort of art. The ring turned bright red, and a ring of fire started burning on it. This was young hero Yang's heaven-step divine weapon. He came from the Blazing Mountain, and although he wasn't the young master of the Blazing Mountain, he was still a direct descendant of the Blazing Mountain and would become an elder in the future. Therefore, the Blazing Mountain sect had bestowed him a heaven-step divine weapon. Yang's eyes flashed fiercely as the ring of fire in his hand exploded with energy, smashing towards Naipeo's head, blazing 3 rings, 15th form. He used his strongest technique right from the get-go, the 15th form of a Sky Class, and he even used a Sky Class weapon to amplify the power of his technique. Evidently, he wanted to kill Naipeo in one hit. In the training grounds, death was death. The Sky Elixir sect only asked that people not be killed in the inn, but not in the training grounds. They only said to try to avoid conflict, but whether or not there was conflict was up to the practitioner themselves. This was also why Naipeo dared to rob them. Naipeo, on the other hand, didn't move at all. Of course, his practitioner's arts were still channeling. It was his first time facing a Sky Class mid-phase peak, but back when he was an Earth Class late-phase peak, the highest level he could kill was a Sky Class mid-phase. Now that he was a Sky Class early phase, the highest level he could kill would naturally increase as well. Killing a Sky Class mid-phase peak in one hit was still possible. Boom! The ring of fire smashed into Naipeo's head, and a bone-deep wound appeared on his head. Blood flowed profusely, and if it weren't for the chi protecting his body, he would have been smashed to death. Emoba, on the side, quickly took out a pill and stuffed it into Naipeo's mouth. Naipeo had to channel his arts for a while before he fully recovered. The wound on his head had already scabbed over. Phew! Naipeo took in a deep breath. A Sky Class mid-phase peak was indeed not to be underestimated. Fortunately, he had his arts protecting his body, and the opponent's skill couldn't fully hit him. Otherwise, he would have been heavily injured, if not dead. Oh! Master Yang cried out. He felt a strong force coming from his ring of fire, and while the ring was still in his hand, the power of the ring hit his body directly. All of a sudden, a huge wound appeared on young hero Yang's body. It was as if he had been smashed by the ring of flames. It was huge, and his ribs and internal organs had been crushed. After young hero Yang screamed, he struggled for a while and fell to the ground. There was no movement, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. The two disciples of the Dark Palace were dumbfounded. In their eyes, the high and mighty Sky Class mid-phase peak was dead, just like that. This Master Yang, who they had been praising and praising, couldn't even withstand a single blow. Or rather, Master Yang didn't even make a move and only hit Naipeo once. Naipeo didn't die, and he was the one who died. This was unbelievable. But The disciples of the Dark Palace were the best at changing their minds. Seeing that their backer was dead, they changed their minds. Disciple A quickly took out a box of elixir from his pocket and gave it to Ba. Gunslinger, this is the elixir for the test, please accept it. Gunslinger is so strong, so strong. We followed the wrong person, Gunslinger. Gunslinger, please take us as your followers, we'll serve you well. Disciple B said quickly. Right, Master Yang? No, I have elixir here as well, Gunslinger, I'll find it for you. With that, Disciple A found a box from Master Yang's corpse and gave it to Ba. Ba didn't take it, turning to Nai Peo instead. Killing these two was up to Nai Peo, and Ba couldn't make the decision himself. Since you two are so sincere, then give it to me. Nai Peo looked at the two boxes and said to Ba, take it. Yes, Gunslinger. Ba said as he accepted the boxes. Then we. Disciple A and Disciple B said quickly. Perfect, I'm lacking some people. If someone else comes in later, tell them what Ba said, so we don't have to repeat it. Nai Peo said faintly, but I won't mistreat you guys. If someone else comes in later and gets another elixir, I'll give it to you. 2 is enough for me. Thank you, Gunslinger. Gunslinger is so strong. Disciple A and Disciple B said gratefully. Maybe if there's more, I'll give you guys one more. I won't let anyone who follows me suffer, Nai Peo said with a wave of his hand. He was a loyal man, and he was loyal to Pin Liang as well as his followers. It was just that they followed the wrong master. Thank you so much. Gunslinger, you're the best. Disciple A and Disciple B said. Chapter 28:16. Yes, Pow Bro. The two disciples of the Dark Palace quickly replied. And so, Nai Peo sat cross-legged on the ground and practiced, with Ba guarding him. The disciples of the Dark Palace stood at the entrance, waiting for more participants to come. Sure enough, not long after, he heard voices coming from outside again. If Lin was here, he'd be able to tell that it was Li Siba and Zhao Qikuan from the Holy Fist Palace. The two of them met on the way to a safe place. Although they were teleported to different places, the general direction was similar. So when they rushed to a safe place, they coincidentally walked together. The two of them were very excited when they saw the safe place on the map. After all, they had gotten the elixir and came here without a hitch. It was something worth celebrating, especially Zhao Qikuan. He didn't even think that he would be able to get the elixir, nor did he think that he would be able to find a safe place without a hitch. All of this made him feel very lucky. We're finally here, Li Bro, I wonder if the others are here? Zhao Qikuan sighed as he came to the safe place. Yeah, I don't know, let's go take a look first, Li Siba said. With that, the two of them entered the safe place. But when they saw the two Dark Palace disciples guarding the entrance of the safe place, they were obviously stunned. You guys are? Li Siba recognized the two disciples from the Dark Palace and asked curiously. You're here to rest, right? The Dark Palace disciple A barked. We're Gunslinger Nai Peo's underlings, we can rest here, but you must hand over the elixir. Of course, if you don't have the elixir, then scram. Li Siba wasn't too happy with the arrogant attitude of the Dark Palace disciple, but when he heard that they were Nai Peo's underlings, his face froze. Nai Peo was here? He and Zhao Qikuan raised their heads and looked in. Indeed, Nai Peo was sitting on the ground practicing, and beside him was his underling Ba. Not far away, there was a corpse. Wasn't that young Master Yang from Blazing Mountain? Li Siba, naturally, wasn't a stranger to this. His lips twitched a couple of times. It seemed that Master Yang had fallen into Nai Peo's trap as well, getting into a conflict with him here. It seemed that Nai Peo had finished him off. Qikuan was weak and Lin wasn't here. Naturally, he listened to Li Siba. He looked up at Li Siba, not knowing what to do. Qikuan had been quite happy. He thought that he could finally relax after reaching a safe place, but who would have thought that he'd run into Nai Peo here? Li Siba was the same as well. This was what it meant when enemies met. His fellow disciples were crippled by Zhang Nai Peo and were carried back to the sect before they could even participate in the test. But now that Lin wasn't here, Li Siba had no one to rely on. He wasn't an idiot. Going against Nai Peo at a time like this wouldn't do him any good. After some hesitation, he said, All right, we'll give the elixir to Gunslinger and rest here. At least you know what's good for you. Disciple A laughed heartily as he took the elixir from Li Siba and Chikuan, handing it over to Naipeo. Naipeo saw that the two had handed over the elixir obediently and didn't make things difficult for them. He had the ability to kill them, but there would be a price to pay. The wasp absorption art was strong, but it could only absorb the energy of practitioners below Earth class. Those above Earth class would die easily if they used it. And so, Naipeo wouldn't use it so casually, especially after what Lin had done to him. What he was relying on now was his other mystical technique. Of course, this technique was powerful, but it was also a self-destructive move. If it were possible, Naipeo wouldn't use it so casually. He'd just use it as a deterrent. Plus, he'd just been injured, and getting injured again wouldn't be good for him. As for his ultimate skill, he didn't plan on using it, that was his trump card, and he wouldn't use it unless he absolutely had to. Putting aside the fact that using it would expose his ultimate skill, just using it once would use up a lot of chi and stamina. And so, Naipeo chose to let Li Siba and Chikuan go. But he could still mock them a little. Naipeo looked at Li Siba and Chikuan, mocking them faintly. Don't think that you'll be fine just because you're on Lin Yi's side. I want Lin Yi dead as well. Don't even think that he'll be able to avenge you, it's useless. Li Siba and Chikuan looked at each other, not retorting. There was no point in doing so right now. They had to wait for Lin Yi to come and fight back. Otherwise, no matter what they said, it wouldn't change anything. Plus, Li Siba and Chikuan's main goal right now was to stay alive. Retorting a little might be satisfying, but it wouldn't be worth it if they got killed. Naipeo saw that the two were silent, and he didn't say anything else. He turned to Demon 8. We have 4 herbs now, right? Yes, Gunslinger, Demon 8 said respectfully. Naipeo nodded and took out another herb from his bag, handing it to Demon 8. Give this back to the disciples of Dark Palace. They used to be the followers of that Yang from Fiery Mountain, but they've changed their ways, and became Naipeo's followers. I, Naipeo, have always taken good care of my followers. They'll benefit greatly if they follow me. Ah? The two disciples thought that Naipeo was just saying it casually, not expecting him to put it into action so quickly. They were overjoyed. Disciple A said gratefully, Thank you, Gunslinger. It's great to follow Gunslinger. Yeah, it's much better than following that Lin. Look at those two, they're in such a miserable state. Disciple B said flatteringly. Naipeo was doing this for Li Siba and Chikuan to see as well. He didn't say it out loud, and was just about to drop a hint when Night Palace Disciple B said it for himself. It made him very happy. Chapter 28:17. And so, he used the hint to tell Li Siba and Chikuan that he was taking care of his followers. These two might have been Master Yang's followers before, but now that they were with Naipeo, Naipeo would let bygones be bygones and still take care of them. Li Siba and Chikuan, on the other hand, would receive the same treatment if they joined Naipeo. Chikuan and Li Siba, however, didn't care at all. The two thought to themselves that these two from Dark Palace didn't know the difference between Lin Yi and Naipeo. That was why they were following Naipeo. They knew that Lin Yi was stronger than Naipeo. Wasn't following Naipeo the same as well? Naipeo saw that Siba and Chikuan didn't have any reaction, so he didn't say anything else. He'd already hinted at it, and it was very obvious. Naipeo didn't want to keep talking about it. There would be other practitioners coming soon anyway. He'd just have to scare them a bit more, and they'd be on his side. After a while, a lone cultivator came looking for him. This lone cultivator was a guest cultivator from the endless West Sea. He had the strength of a heaven-class early stage, but he came alone and didn't have any pills. He wanted to hide and rest here, but was stopped by 2 disciples of the Dark Palace. When the freelancer found out that Naipeo was robbing here, he didn't even dare say a fart before leaving, knowing that he wasn't strong enough. Ordinary rogue cultivators, even if they were affiliated with a sect or family, would not dare to be too arrogant. They would be careful when doing things, unlike the direct descendants of sects and families who had backing. Their strength had not come easily, so they did not dare to easily provoke stronger people. Li Siba and Chikuan didn't say anything about the freelancer leaving. They didn't have the ability to stand up for others, and it was already good enough that they could protect themselves. After who knew how long, 2 more people came to the safe area. These 2 were Feng Shipian and Gu Xian, who had met Li Siba and Qikuan on the way here. They were very happy to see Li Siba and Qikuan, but Nai Peo's presence made them hand over their herbs. They only had 1, but Nai Peo didn't say anything and let them rest. Perhaps Nai Peo still hadn't given up on Lin Yi's followers. He was waiting for an opportunity, a chance to shock and conquer Lin Yi's followers. This would be the biggest blow to Lin Yi's confidence. In actuality, with Feng Shipian and Li Siba, these 2 sky-class masters, they weren't weaker than Nai Peo's group in terms of strength, but Nai Peo's techniques were just too weird, and those who hit him would get injured for no reason. So, Feng Shipian and Li Siba chose to stay silent and not fight with Nai Peo. In fact, they were all waiting for Lin. Without Lin Yi here, even if they were sky-class, they wouldn't dare make a move. The 4 sat in a corner of the safe area. They didn't talk to Nai Peo, and Nai Peo, on the other hand, didn't seem to be looking for trouble. It seemed like they were safe for now. Where's Yang Qiqi? Have you guys seen her? Qikuan knew Lin Yi better. He knew that if Yang Qiqi had nothing to do with Lin Yi wouldn't bother with her time and time again. Especially since this girl was always biting the hand that fed her. Qikuan felt that there had to be something between the 2, and that was why he was worried about her. Yang Qiqi? Didn't see her. Feng Shipian shook his head, and Gu Xian shook her head as well. I wonder how she's doing. She's a girl, I hope nothing bad happens to her. Qikuan sighed. They were talking when footsteps came from outside the safe place. After a while, someone walked in. Who else could it be if it wasn't the Yang Qiqi they were looking for? Qikuan was overjoyed. Qiqi, you're here too? That's great, we're all here. We're just missing the boss. But before Qiqi could reply, Disciple A spoke up coldly. This is Gunslinger Zhang's turf. If you want to rest here, you'll have to hand in your medicine. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but you'll have to leave. Medicine? Qiqi blinked. I don't have it. Why is this Zhang Nai Peo's turf? Isn't this? Our pal bro was the first to arrive here, so of course he'll take over this place. If you want to come, then hand over your trial elixir. If you don't want to come, then scram. Disciple A said coldly. She's with us, she's just a girl, why are you making things difficult for her? Feng Shipian couldn't take it anymore. He stood up and turned to the 2 disciples. We're giving you our medicine, isn't that enough? You guys are yours, she's hers. Disciple B had Zhang Nai Peo backing him up, so he didn't put Feng Shipian in his eyes at all. This is a rule set by Gunslinger. We can't treat people differently because of their genders. If you don't like it, you can talk to Gunslinger. Feng Shipian's face was green as he looked at Nai Peo, not daring to get angry. Zhang Nai Peo, you're strong, but you don't have to do this, do you? What's wrong with me? Do I need to be kind to the followers of my enemies? They're not my followers. Nai Peo said disdainfully. If you were my followers, then I'd make an exception, but you're not at all. What right do you have to talk to me about this? All right, if she insists on coming in, then I'll have to kill her. This is a rule I set, and I can't change it. You. Feng Shipian was speechless. He hesitated. Then I'll switch with her, okay? I'll leave and let her come? There's such a thing as switching? Once this precedent was set, the people who came later would be replaced one by one. Once they had enough rest, they would be replaced by the next. Would I still be able to do this business without any capital? Are you an idiot? Nai Peo denied it right away. Don't say stuff like that. Forget it, I was planning on going somewhere else anyway. Since Lin isn't here, I'll be going. Qiqi was pissed off at Nai Peo's face, but she'd been getting bullied since she got here, so she was used to it. Chapter 28:18. No, I have other important things to do. That's why I'm here. Qiqi said. Where are you going? I'll tell Brother Lin when he comes back. Feng Shipian didn't have a choice. He couldn't make Qiqi stay, but leaving was the best solution. Otherwise, he really wouldn't know what to say to Nai Peo. Did he really have to change sides and call Nai Peo boss? 5 Fiends Mountains. Qiqi said, I'm actually here to tell you guys something. Qiqi's goal here wasn't to get the herbs, but to get to the 5 Fiends Mountains. Through a special channel, she knew about the existence of the Five Fiends dragon. It was a spirit beast of the five elements, and every part of its body was a treasure. What she wanted was the scale of the claw of the Five Fiends dragon. It was an earth element herb. At first, Chi-Chi didn't know how to get to the Five Fiends mountains. After all, the Five Fiends Barrens was a huge place, and Chi-Chi was completely clueless. But with Lin Yi's map, Chi-Chi could quickly lock onto the direction of the Five Fiends Mountains. There was a clear mark on the map. Chi-Chi came to a safe place, but it was just along the way. She was planning to look for Lin Yi and see if he could come with her. It'd increase her chances of getting the scale, but Lin Yi wasn't here. She had to go alone. One was that Nai Peo wouldn't let her in, and two was that she didn't know when Lin Yi would be back. There was a time limit to the test, and it had been 4 days already. She didn't want to waste any more time. Plus, even if Lin Yi came back, he might not come with her to the Five Fiends Mountains. After all, she wasn't anyone to Lin Yi, and Lin didn't need to go with her. And so Chi-Chi gritted her teeth and made her decision. She'd go to the Five Fiends Mountains alone. This was actually a lot better than what she'd planned. At least she wouldn't get lost with a map. Five Fiends Mountains? What is that place? Feng Shipian was stunned. He did not study the map carefully, and the Five Fiend Mountain range was the opposite of where he was previously, so Feng Shipian did not pay much attention to it. I know. The Five Fiends Mountain range is very dangerous. Why are you going there? Gu Xian carefully studied the map and knew that the Five Fiend Mountain range was marked as an extremely dangerous place. There's something I need to find. Chi-Chi said, All right, I'll be going first. If Lin Yi comes back, please thank him for me. This, all right. Feng Shipian didn't feel safe letting Chi-Chi go alone, but the truth was that the Five Fiends Wildlands was full of danger. The spirit beasts here could kill him in one shot, and even if he went with Gu Xian, Li Siba, and Qikuan, they wouldn't be able to handle the danger. Therefore, Feng Shipian chose to stay here and continue to wait for Lin. Chi-Chi left, and Nai Peo didn't stop her. Qikuan was worried as well, but there was nothing he could do. He could only wait for Lin Yi to come back as soon as possible. A day passed quickly, and the next morning, 2 more practitioners found a safe place. But this time, it was a disciple from the ancient Dongfang clan, an expert with the strength of a heaven-rank late phase peak. Of course, his strength wasn't visible to the 2 disciples of the Dark Palace. When Dongfang Busha brought his follower to a safe place, Disciple A said as if it was a routine matter. This is Gunslinger Zhang's turf. If you want to rest here, you must hand in your medicine. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but you'll have to leave. Slap. What Disciple A got in return wasn't an answer, but a huge slap to the face, sending him tumbling backwards. Blood poured out of his ears. Evidently, this wasn't a light slap. One had to know that this was a sky-class late phase peak. Even a casual slap would be quite powerful. Shut up. Who do you think you are? Watchdog Zhang Naipeo? Who the hell is Zhang Naipeo? I'll rest here if I want to, and it's not up to you to tell me if I don't want to. You want me to hand in my medicine? Dongfang Bushu glared. Zhang Naipeo, is it? Hand over all of your spiritual herbs to me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Dongfang Bushu was arrogant, but he had the right to be arrogant. He was an expert at the peak of the late phase of heaven class, which was the highest level below the heavenly Tao. Even though he hadn't reached the great perfection, he was someone who looked down on all cultivators. He was as powerful as he could be. Now that he was being robbed by a mere earth class from the Dark Palace, he was quite displeased. It was only now that Dongfang Bushu's sky-class late phase peak was revealed. The other disciple B jumped in fright and quickly hid to the side, not daring to make a sound. Nai Peo frowned as well. He didn't think that there would be an earth-class late phase peak here. He was already feeling a bit weak against that sky-class mid-phase peak Master Yang before, and if it wasn't for the little recovery pill and his practitioner's arts, he probably wouldn't be able to win at all. But now, this Dongfang Bushu was a sky-class late phase peak, and Nai Peo really didn't have the confidence to take him down. After all, he might get hurt or even die if he hit him, but Nai Peo himself might die as well. A sky-class late phase peak's technique wasn't something to be messed with. The 2 of them might die at the same time, and Nai Peo didn't dare test it out. Plus, Nai Peo's wounds weren't completely healed yet, and if he were to get hurt again, he might really die here. So without a choice, Nai Peo had to use his ultimate move. He was planning on using this on Lin Yi, but if he didn't use it on this Dongfang Bushu, then he wouldn't be able to save himself. Dongfang Bushu, right? Ha, that's a good name, but it's a waste to use it on you. It should be me. Nai Peo finished his training and stood up. Alright, I've decided. After I kill you, I'll be called Dongfang Bushu. Chapter 28:19. Cough cough. Nai Peo almost fainted from coughing after hearing the words. Didn't Dongfang Bubi castrate himself? How come he has a great-grandson like you? It's normal, I'm from Dongfang Bubi's cousin's branch. Dongfang Bubi explained, his face red. In actuality, the current head of the house, Dongfang Chaochuan, didn't know if Dongfang Bubi had anything to do with them or not, but the ancient Dongfang house was using this identity as a descendant of Dongfang Bubi to scare people off. Oh, I thought you had the secret to making babies. Nai Peo said, a little disinterested. That heaven and earth grand shift you're talking about, I've only seen it on TV. I don't practice heaven and earth grand shift. I don't care if you do or not, don't worry, I won't attack you first. I'll take care of your followers right now, and as long as I don't attack you, your heaven and earth grand shift won't work on me. Dongfang Bubi was certain that Nai Peo practiced heaven and earth grand shift. Alright, how about I hit you first? Nai Peo said without a change in expression. You hit me? Come on, as long as you can do anything to me. Dongfang Bubi curled his lips, evidently not taking a sky class like Nai Peo seriously at all. You're the one who told me to. Nai Peo humphed coldly. Don't blame me for not reminding you. You're just a sky class early phase, so what if I let you hit me first? Dongfang Bubi said. Dark Hell Demon Fist. Nai Peo quickly channeled his practitioner's arts and made a weird hand seal before punching out at Dongfang Bubi's head. Dongfang Bubi had been on guard the entire time, channeling his practitioner's arts and using his chi to protect himself. He was also ready to dodge at any moment, and when he saw Nai Peo's fist coming at him, he took 2 steps back, wanting to dodge. What he didn't expect was for Nai Peo to stop already, and his fist stopped in midair. But just as Dongfang Bulu was wondering what Nai Peo was doing, the chi on his fist didn't stop at all, it went straight into Dongfang Bulu's mind. Ah, Dongfang Bu immediately roared. His eyes turned crimson, and his hands started waving around crazily. As if he was greatly stimulated, he suddenly knelt on the ground and used his hands to pull at his hair. Then he suddenly jumped up and spun around on the spot. Young Master Dongfang, what's wrong with you? His follower was shocked by Dongfang Bushu's strange behavior. He asked in alarm. Ugh. Dongfang Bulu didn't answer at all. He just shook off his follower, causing the follower to stumble and almost fall to the ground to his death. His follower was only in Earth class mid-phase. How could he withstand that? However, this follower had the heavy responsibility of accompanying Dongfang Bulu. If anything happened to Dongfang Bulu during the trial, then he would not have a good time when he returned to the Dongfang family. He was only an ordinary disciple of the Dongfang family. Plop! Dongfang Bulu actually knelt on the ground and started kowtowing. Other than Nai Peo, everyone present was very surprised. Just what was going on with him? Ah! Dongfang Bulu kept kowtowing as he shouted some unknown incantation. All of a sudden, Dongfang Bulu turned around and ran out of the safe area, rushing outside. Who knew what he was going to do? The follower was startled and hurriedly ran after him. In the end, he saw Dongfang Busheng rushing towards a large spirit beast that was crawling on the ground. When the crawling spirit beast saw Dongfang Bulu rushing over, especially when it sensed his peak late-stage heaven rank strength, it immediately became vigilant. It looked at the approaching Dongfang Bulu and roared, "Roar!" However, Dongfang Bulu didn't seem to hear the spirit beast's roar as he rushed towards it. This situation shocked the people in the safe area. That was a huge spirit beast. Not even a sky-class late-phase peak full circle would be a match for it, let alone Dongfang Bulu. As expected, the follower watched as the spirit beast swung its tail and smacked Dongfang Bulu to the ground. How powerful was that crawling spirit beast? Dongfang Bulu twitched a little after being smacked to the ground, and his eyes rolled back as he went to the west to seek for scriptures. This scene was witnessed by the people in the safe place. Because it was a straight line, even if they were in the safe place, they could see it clearly through the entrance. This made the people in the safe place feel a chill down their spines. If one were to say that Master Yang killing Naipeo after hitting him was a weird thing, then what was happening right now was even more unbelievable. He didn't know what technique Naipeo used, but it was as if Dongfang Bushua had gone insane, charging to the spirit beast's side and getting beaten to death. Dongfang Bushu's followers stared blankly at the scene in front of him, not knowing what to do. Dongfang Bushu was dead, and he didn't know what to do. At this moment, his mind was blank. He only thought of running away, or dying together with Dongfang Bushu. However, the followers' rationality and loyalty made him wait for the spiritual beast to leave before he carefully collected Dongfang Bushu's corpse. He then slowly walked towards the teleportation formation. If he had known this would happen, he would not have chosen to rest in a safe place with Dongfang Bushu. Even if he had to forcefully persuade him, he would have made Dongfang Bushu leave this place. But there was no medicine for regret in this world, and the follower couldn't do anything about it. Whether or not he could reach the teleportation circle safely with the body was another matter, but no matter what, he did his best. After collecting the body, he didn't even look back at the safe area, and didn't dare say anything to Naipeo. Naipeo was just too strong. After all, a sky-class late-phase peak had died in such a strange way. "You overestimate yourself," Naipeo said faintly. Naipeo said faintly as he turned to Moba. "Moba, give our friend from the Dark Palace a small recovery pill, he's injured as well." Chapter 28:20. Feng Shipian and Li Siba looked at each other, not saying anything. They knew that Naipeo was trying to win their hearts, but Feng Shipian wasn't the type of person to go back on his word. He wouldn't go over to Naipeo's side right now. After Chi-Chi left, everyone was in a safe place. Naipeo wanted Feng Shipian to go over to his side, but he didn't threaten him. If he did, he wouldn't be able to hurt Lin Yi, and that would be pointless. He didn't need people like Feng Shipian anymore. He had a lot of them in the everyday sect, so why would he need people like Feng Shipian? He just wanted to hurt Lin Yi. In truth, Feng Shipian and Li Siba had missed a golden opportunity. Naipeo was extremely weak right now, and after using that dark demon fist, he'd used up all of his chi and stamina. He'd need some time to recuperate, and there was no way he could fight again. He was completely defenseless right now, and even a golden class could kill him in one hit. This was the biggest flaw of this ultimate technique. If there was no need, he would absolutely not use it. Of course, this was also a common flaw of some ancient heaven-defying martial skills. Otherwise, if a cultivator mastered this heaven-defying martial skill, then he could challenge many experts by himself. Then, the balance of the cultivation world would be lost. Right now, Naipeo's technique was completely based on the fact that he wasn't on the same level as everyone else. After killing Dongfang Bulu, it was a huge shock to the others, and no one dared to fight him. This gave him time to recover. If he hadn't been hit by young hero Yang, he wouldn't have been in such a sorry state. At least after using the Dark Demon Fist, he still had some stamina. He wouldn't have been killed by a Huang-class cultivator. At the very least, only a cultivator of the same level could kill him. However, because of young hero Yang's move, he had already wasted a lot of his true chi. Before he had fully recovered, Dongfang Bulu had come and caused the current situation. Naipeo's heart was beating like a drum, but he didn't show any fear in front of Chi-Chi. He was still as strong as ever, and Feng Shipian and Li Siba didn't dare do anything rash. Naipeo and Demon 8 would have been dead by now. But it wasn't their fault. They didn't have a golden finger. They weren't like Lin Yi, who could tell if Naipeo's chi was full or not. It wasn't until Naipeo's chi had recovered enough for him to use the Dark Demon Fist again that a smile of relief appeared on Naipeo's face for a brief moment. In the CEO office of the Lu family's company in Beijing, Tianli was in the middle of correcting reports, and his smoking cravings kicked in. He reached for the box of cigarettes on the corner of the table, only to realize that the pack was empty. Secretary Zhang. Tianli pressed the call button for the secretary's office. "Bring me another pack of cigarettes." President Liu, what brand do you use? Secretary Zhang asked quickly. The one Mr. Lang gave me before. Tianli said. Ever since he smoked the special cigarettes Mr. Lang gave him, he'd lost interest in other types of cigarettes. They weren't satisfying at all. Only Mr. Lang's cigarettes were satisfying. President Liu, Mr. Lang's cigarettes are out. The one I gave you before was the last pack. Would you like to look for something else? Secretary Zhang asked. Out. Tianli paused, realizing that it was about time. He was a fast smoker, and Mr. Lang didn't give him a lot of cigarettes. It was normal for him to finish it quickly, but he wasn't satisfied with the rest. Bring me 2 packs then. All right, President Liu. After hanging up, Secretary Zhang quickly walked in from the secretary's office and gave Tianli a few packs of cigarettes, all different brands. Tianli quickly opened 1 pack and put it in his mouth. He lit it up and took 2 puffs. He couldn't help but frown. This isn't good to smoke, it's boring. President Liu, why don't I go out and look for cigarettes of Mr. Lang's brand for you? There's an imported cigarette store near the company, I'll see if there's any there. Secretary Zhang asked carefully. It's okay, you can't buy it. It's Mr. Lang's special cigarettes. I'll make a call myself. Tianli waved his hand and dialed Mr. Lang's number. Mr. Liu? Why are you calling me all of a sudden? Isn't our cooperation going well? Mr. Lang picked up quickly and asked passionately. Mr. Lang, that's not why I'm calling you. It's a private matter. Tianli said. It's about the cigarettes you gave me before. Do you have any more? I'm used to it, and I'm not used to other types of cigarettes. Can you give me 2 more? If not, I can buy them with money? We're partners, why are you talking about money for such a small matter? Mr. Lang said nonchalantly. It's just a few cigarettes. Why would I need money? Thank you, Mr. Lang. Tianli was overjoyed. Then I'll ask my secretary Zhang to go get it from your hotel? There's no need, President Liu. I'll go there myself. However, it just so happens that I have something else to discuss with you. As for the cigarettes, logically speaking, it's not a problem for me to give you a few cartons, but... President Lang paused. Mr. Lang, is there a problem? Tianli's heart skipped a beat as he asked. It's not a problem. It's just that there's only 1 carton left, and that's all I have. I'm here to talk business with you, and this is all I've brought. Mr. Lang said. Just 1. Tianli thought to himself. How was 1 enough for him? He could only smoke half a cigarette a day, and this would be gone in 2 days, and this was under the condition that he was saving. Can I ask your company to send some more over? Tianli asked. Tianli didn't know what to say, but he didn't know what to say. About that, let's talk about it after I get there. There are some things I wanted to talk to you about as well. Mr. Lang said. All right, I'll be waiting for you in my office. Tianli quickly said as soon as he heard that there was hope. If Tianli had X-ray vision, he'd be shocked. That Mr. Lang was always standing, like a slave beside a young man who was sitting in a boss chair. That young man was probably the boss behind the scenes. Chapter 28-21. This young man was none other than Zhang Wen, who had been depressed for a long time. He was held back by many people in East Ocean City. Now that he had a good opportunity, he came to Yanjing City and started his business of swindling people without any capital. Good job, little Chuanhu. Big Scorpion didn't come this time, and you can handle things on your own now. Mr. Lang, you're really good at acting. Zhang Wen nodded in satisfaction. That's all thanks to Master Wen's help. Plus, without the help of the hypnotist, Lu Tianli wouldn't have gotten hooked so easily. At the very least, he'd be suspicious of the cigarettes, Mr. Lang, or little Chuanhu said respectfully. Though, today is the first step of our plan, Zhang Wen said to little Chuanhu. Yes, Master Wen, little Chuanhu replied and went to Lu Tianli's company with Cui Mianshi. Zhang Wen, on the other hand, smiled coldly as he watched the 2 leave. Lin Yi wasn't in Donghai right now, and this was Yanjing. No matter how capable Lin Yi was, he wouldn't be able to guess that he was the mastermind behind this. Little Chuanhu and Cui Mianshi came to Lu Tianli's company together, and Lu Tianli couldn't wait to welcome them in the company's guest room. Mr. Lang, Assistant Cui, welcome. Lu Tianli's craving for cigarettes had reached a point where he couldn't sit still anymore. He looked at the bag in Cui Mianshir's hand, wanting to ask, but feeling a little embarrassed. Mr. Lu, I'm sorry, this is the last carton of cigarettes left. I didn't think that this thing would be so popular. My old friends got one each and we're pretty much done with it. You got quite a lot, and the others only got one. Little Chuanhu shrugged helplessly. Mr. Lang, the last carton? Lu Tianli couldn't hold back his craving anymore. He had smoked cigarettes before, but he never got addicted to them. This time was different. He felt a little strange, but the craving was quickly pushed to the back of his mind. I've brought it. Mr. Lang, let's talk about something first? Don't worry, I'll leave the cigarettes for you in the end. You're not in a hurry, are you? Xiao Chun patted Tianli's shoulder with a smile. But Tianli thought. Why wasn't he in a hurry? I'm about to die from anxiety. However, he couldn't say that. He was the CEO of the group. How could he say something like that? Wouldn't that be a joke? So even if Tianli wanted to smoke, he had to hold it in. He made an inviting gesture. Mr. Lang, Secretary Cui, please have a seat. I wonder what you guys are here to discuss with me this time? Chief Lu, I'm here to discuss a business deal with you, Xiao Chun said. Business? Tianli paused. Mr. Lang, didn't we just sign the contract? Didn't we already agree on the deal? Why do you want to discuss business again? The previous business of purchasing medicinal herbs was related to purchasing medicinal herbs. It has nothing to do with this. Xiao Chun waved her hand and said, actually, this is a business opportunity that I have just discovered. It will be beneficial to you too, Ho Lu. Beneficial to me too? What kind of business is that? Tianli asked curiously. It's like this. I came here to sign a contract with your company, but I found another business opportunity at the same time. That is, our special cigarettes are very popular here. Many of my old friends have tried them and still want more. Mr. Lu, you have experienced it firsthand. How much do you think these cigarettes should be worth? Xiao Chun asked. Tianli paused. As long as it's not ridiculously expensive, I can accept it. After all, with my current status, I can afford even the most expensive cigarettes. Isn't that it? Mr. Lu, if that's what you think, then don't all my rich friends think the same? If I import these cigarettes in bulk, they should be very popular in the rich circle, right? Xiao Chun said. It's not an exaggeration to say that the demand can't keep up with the supply. That's true. Mr. Lang, if you want to do this business, then I'm all for it. I will become one of your customers. Tianli said. Mr. Lu, I do want to do this business, that's right, but I want to work with you. Xiao Chun said, as you know, my company has just signed an agreement with your company to purchase medicinal herbs. However, your company only paid a down payment. The full payment will only be made after we see the goods. However, my company has to pay a large amount of cash to purchase the medicinal herbs. Only after your company has settled the payment can we start to work again. In this way, my capital chain will be stretched. This is also the reason why I came to you. You should understand now, right? Lu Chunchun nodded and said, you know that my company has just signed an agreement with your company to purchase medicinal herbs. I understand, so that's how it is. Tianli nodded. What Mr. Lang said made sense. It was true that their company needed a large amount of cash to buy the herbs, but if they wanted to get their money back, they would have to settle the payment after the goods were delivered. That way, it was normal that they wouldn't have enough money to do other businesses. However, this was an industry he had never been in contact with before, and Tianli was the conservative type. He didn't have the spirit to expand, so he couldn't help but hesitate. Mr. Lu, this is a very promising business. Our Mr. Lang didn't look for anyone else but you. Actually, it's also because we're familiar with each other. Our two companies already have a cooperative relationship, and we trust each other even if we do anything else. Cui Mianshir spoke up suddenly. Oh. Tianli paused, and the hesitation in his eyes turned into decisiveness. But he didn't notice the change himself. Then how much profit is this cigarette business? 200%. Xiao Chun put up 2 fingers. Mr. Lu, if you invest 10 million, you'll get 20 million in return. That much? Tianli's eyes widened. He didn't expect money to come in so quickly. He was a little tempted, but he still asked, "But importing tobacco would be troublesome, wouldn't it? The procedures and stuff like that would be very complicated. Even with my power, I don't think I can do it." Procedures for what? Xiao Chun waved her hand. How can there be such a huge profit if it's a legal import? Chapter 28-22. It's smuggling. Xiao Chun said disapprovingly. I have my own channels. Otherwise, how do you think we got in with such a low price, Mr. Lu? If we go through the legal channels, we'll lose a lot of money with the tariffs. How are we going to make money then? So it's smuggling? Tianli's face changed instantly, his heart wavering. He didn't want to get involved in Mr. Lang's business anymore. Mr. Lu, we're just saying it casually, and you're just listening. We can't go back on our word once we leave. Cui Mianshi said. What Mr. Lang means is that you only need to invest, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. The contract we'll sign will be our company borrowing from your company, and we'll pay you back with high interest. That way, whatever we do will have nothing to do with you, Mr. Lu. You don't have to worry about anything. That's true. Tianli didn't know why, but he felt much better after hearing Cui Mianshi's words. He nodded. All right, we can work together then. How much do I need to invest? 30 to 50 million is enough for the initial stage, not too much. Xiao Chun said. He was planning to cast a long line to catch a big fish, and naturally, he wouldn't use too much money to scare Tianli away. Although it would work with Cui Mianshi, it would make Lin Yi suspect that there was something wrong with it. It wouldn't look like a normal business scam then. Oh, it's not that much. Tianli nodded. All right, we'll sign the contract now, and I'll get the finance department to transfer the money to you. Straightforward. I knew Mr. Lu was a straightforward person. Xiao Chun said and turned to Cui Mianshi. Assistant Cui, take out the contract and let Mr. Lu have a look. Yes, Mr. Lang. Cui Mianshi took out the prepared contract from his briefcase and passed it to Tianli. Tianli didn't have much of a pioneering spirit, but he was still a careful businessman. He looked at the contract carefully, and after finding no problems, he signed his name and told his secretary Zhang to go through the financial process. Mr. Lang, can I have the cigarettes now? My addiction. Tianli couldn't hold it in anymore. Of course. Cui, give it to Mr. Lu. Xiao Chun said. All right, here you go, Mr. Lu. Cui Mianshi passed the cigarette to Tianli. Tianli, on the other hand, couldn't wait to open a pack of cigarettes and take one out, puffing out a cloud of smoke as he inhaled. Tianli's heart. Little Peach carefully knocked on the door of Heavenly Silkworm Transformation's room. These days, Heavenly Silkworm Transformation seemed to be in a bad mood. Except for the necessary tea and water, he didn't let Little Peach disturb him. Every day, besides reading books, he studied alchemy. He didn't care about anything else. Almost all the sex matters were reported to Heavenly Elixir Sect Master Tianjixing. In the past, Heavenly Silkworm Transformation handled it for him. Please come in, the Heavenly Silkworm Transformation said. Young Sect Master, it's me, Little Peach. Little Peach pushed open the door and said, Young Sect Leader, there is something that the sect's Patriarch Xianxia wants to tell you. He wants you to make a trip there. I'll be right there. When the Heavenly Silkworm Transformation heard that Xianxia Patriarch was looking for him, he immediately put down the book in his hand and strode out of the room towards Xianxia Patriarch's temporary residence. Little Peach patted her chest. She didn't know why, but she felt an indescribable pressure when facing the young sect master these past few days. It was as if the young sect master had distanced himself from her a lot, but it didn't seem like it, because the young sect master didn't really like anyone. Guess who I am? While Little Peach pondered the question, someone covered her eyes with a hand. Startled, Little Peach hurriedly reached out to push Kong Tiandao away and said, Big Brother Kong, stop messing around. Ha, Little Peach Lil Sis, you guessed it right away. Kong Ming Ming said with a smile, What's wrong, Peach Lil Sis? You don't seem to be in a good mood? Kong bro, the young master doesn't seem to be in a good mood these days. He's distanced himself from me. Did I do something wrong? Little Peach's status in the Heavenly Elixir sect was entirely because she was Tianli's maid. But without this identity, she was even worse than an ordinary disciple. How could she not be worried? The young master is quite polite to me. Kong Ming Ming was surprised. I feel that his attitude towards me is getting better and better. Is that so? Little Peach looked at Kong Ming Ming with a complicated expression. Could it be that the young master? Kong Xiaoming nodded. Little Peach sis, aren't you thinking too much? I think it must be because the heavenly elixir sex trial is not over yet. The young master is more worried about the results of this trial. He has been asking me if there are any trial takers who have returned successfully. He wants me to inform him as soon as possible. I see. Little Peach thought about it and agreed. It seemed that Tianli had been paying special attention to the results of the heavenly elixir sex trial recently. It was understandable that he was in a bad mood. Thinking of this, Little Peach felt relieved. Tianli quickly arrived at Patriarch Xianzhen's courtyard. He knocked on the door and heard Patriarch Xianzhen's deep and kind voice, "Please come in." Tianli walked into the courtyard carefully and entered Patriarch Xianzhen's room. He said respectfully, "Master, I'm here." "Tianli, you're here? Sit anywhere you like." Patriarch Xianzhen pointed to a cushion not far away. "Yes, Master." Tianli's real name was Tianli. He didn't have any objections to Patriarch Xianzhen's way of addressing him. He sat respectfully opposite Patriarch Xianzhen. "Tianli, I heard that you haven't been in a good mood these few days?" Patriarch Xianzhen put down the book in his hand and looked at Tianli warmly. "Master, I feel that I can't do it. The young master's job is so tiring. I'm not made for this." Tianli lowered his head and didn't dare look Patriarch Xianzhen in the eye. "I don't know when my sister will come back and if she can come back safely." Chapter 28-23. Master, Tian Bien was at a loss for words. He lowered his head and didn't know what to say. "I don't want to do this, but I only like alchemy. I don't want to be the young head. I feel like it's a waste of time. Your sister, as a spy of the Five Elements sect, could have been the young head of the Heavenly Elixir sect for the rest of her life if she hadn't been used. But now that she's been used, it won't be long before she leaves. If you don't shoulder this responsibility, who will?" Patriarch Xianzhen said, "You and your sister are rare geniuses in alchemy and martial arts. But look at your sister, not only is she strong, her alchemy skills are no less than yours. She's also good at handling sect affairs. And look at you." "Master, don't say any more. I understand, I will work hard." Tian Bien's face turned red. He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. He seemed to have made up his mind. "Master, when my sister comes back, I will learn how to handle sect affairs from her. I won't let you and my sister down." "That's right." Patriarch Xianzhen nodded. "All right, you're a smart person. There are many things you can understand with just a few words. I don't need to say more. You can go back now." "Master, my sister, there's still no news?" Tian Bien asked carefully. "This is her master's order and also her responsibility. Although I don't want her to take the risk, I have no choice for the sect's future." Ancestor Xianzhen stood up and said in a melancholic tone. He walked to Tian Bien's side and patted him on the shoulder. "You are a man, you must learn to be strong. Even if your sister doesn't come back, don't be sad, because from now on, you are her." Tian Bien took a deep breath and nodded. 5 Fiends Mountain Range. Although Lin Yi's second stage of the art of dragon mastery had reached great completion, he still needed some time to recover his true qi. Spring Rain, 5th form. Lin Yi had just recovered enough true qi to activate Spring Rain from the heavens once, so he quickly activated the incantation for Spring Rain from the heavens. Tian Chan only felt that her whole body was warm, and her physical strength quickly recovered. She could even feel that Lin Yi was sweating profusely behind her. Although Tian Chan was anxious, there was nothing she could do. She could not help at all. The only thing she could do was to carefully hold onto the cliff and prevent the two people from falling down. Otherwise, all the previous efforts would be in vain. When Tian Chan's physical strength and true qi were replenished, she quickly jumped up and once again urged the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm, and then used both her hands and feet to hit the cliff. However, just as Tian Chan's palms were about to hit the precipitous cliff, Tian Chan's gaze suddenly froze and she cried out in surprise. This was because on the cliff where her right palm was about to hit, there was a protruding stone spike. This stone spike was exceptionally sharp. If this was just an ordinary stone spike, with Tianchan's strength, she could easily smash it into pieces. However, the Five Fiends mountain range was extremely hard. Even the 5 elements 8 trigrams palm couldn't do much to the precipitous cliff, only leaving a shallow mark. One could imagine how hard it was. Therefore, when Tianchan saw the spike, she was shocked. However, it was too late for her to change direction. She could only bite the bullet and slap it. Although the sound was not too loud, it made Tianchan's heart tremble. She trembled in pain, and her right palm was pierced by the spike. At this moment, Tianchan groaned in pain. It hurts. Lin Yi also saw the scene in front of him and couldn't help but frown. He didn't expect to encounter such an unlucky thing. He quickly asked, Tianchan, are you okay? How can I be okay? It hurts so much. Tianchan cried, you're sitting behind me and enjoying the fruits of others' labor, but I'm suffering in front. I'm not really enjoying the fruits of others' labor. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. In any case, he was also quickly circulating the mantra to restore his physical strength. I don't care, you have to help me heal it. Otherwise, I'll fall down. Anyway, when I fall down, you'll be below. I'll crush you to death. Tianchan said, I can heal it, but you have to first pull out your palm and give it to me. I can't touch your skin, so I can't transfer my physical strength and chi to heal you. Lin said, healing was different from the spring rain. The spring rain could transfer physical strength and chi without contact, but if healing couldn't be done, Lin Yi couldn't do anything. I can't. If I let go of one hand, I won't be able to hold the cliff. Both of us will fall down. Tianchan said, can't you just find a place to transfer your physical strength and chi? I can, but you have to pull out your hand. Otherwise, there's a thorn in the middle of your palm. How can I heal it? Even if your palm is healed, there's still a thorn in the middle. You'll still be injured if you pull it out. Lin Yi said, if that's the case, then can I pull out my hand and grab the thorn with my hand? Tianchan asked. That's fine. Lin Yi said. That's fine. Tianchan carefully endured the pain and pulled out her palm from the thorn. Even though she was a practitioner, the pain at the moment was unbearable. Previously, when she fought with the 5 Evils dragon, although she was injured more seriously, it didn't take long for her to faint. So, Tianchan actually didn't suffer much pain. But now it was different. She could only endure it with a clear mind. But I don't have a place to start. Lin Yi looked around at Tianchan's body. There was no place to touch her skin, and the two were tied together by the yellow silk, so Lin Yi's mobility was greatly limited. He wanted to touch Tianchan's hand, but he couldn't quite reach it. He barely touched it. Lin Yi couldn't use the art of dragon mastery in this tense position, so Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. He didn't know what to do. No, you don't know how to find. Tianchan was a little anxious. Hurry up, it hurts. I can't hold it anymore. If you don't heal me, I'll fall. Well, you forced me. Lin Yi was a little helpless. He gritted his teeth and reached out his hands to Tianchan's chest. This was the only place that wasn't covered by clothes, and it was the easiest place for Lin Yi to touch. Chapter 28-24. I'm healing you. I can't reach other parts, right? Lin Yi said with a bitter smile, so I'm offended. Anyway, I've touched it before. You won't suffer too much if I touch it alone. What kind of theory is this? You're the only one touching. Tianchan was a little dumbfounded by Lin Yi, but thinking about it, her chest was probably the easiest part for Lin Yi to touch. With Lin Yi's current position, he could reach it with his hand. If she let Lin Yi touch other parts, it would really be a little difficult. Thinking of this, Tianchan said helplessly, then hurry up. Don't take advantage of the opportunity, or I will let go of my hand, and we will fall to our deaths. I won't fall to my death. I can heal myself, said Lin. Healing will also make you suffer, said Tianchan. I'll start. Lin Yi's hand touched a piece of softness. Although he knew that he was healing Tianchan, his mind inevitably had some fantasies, and his body had a physiological reaction again. Take care of your weapon, or I will kick it to pieces when I go up. Tianchan's face was red from Lin Yi's touch, and she said with hatred, I can't do anything about this. It shows that you are attractive. Lin Yi said with a bitter smile, our healing is more important. Tian Chan snorted. Lin Yi didn't dare to take advantage of Tian Chan too much. He activated the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery and began to quickly heal Tian Chan. Soon, the injury on Tian Chan's hand began to heal, and in the blink of an eye, it became white and tender skin. I'm good. Let go of my hand. Tian Chan had an indescribable feeling from Lin Yi's touch. She didn't know whether it was comfortable or uncomfortable. In short, this feeling made Tian Chan a little crazy. Oh, okay. Although Lin Yi was reluctant, he quickly withdrew his hand to avoid Tian Chan calling him a pervert. Phew! Tian Chan let out a long sigh. Thinking about what happened just now, she didn't know why she was able to endure it. Was she really immune to his touch? Tian Chan shook her head. She didn't want to think about these things. She kicked hard with her legs and jumped up again, climbing to a higher cliff. After that, Tian Chan was a lot more careful, but she didn't encounter the same situation as before. The two of them walked and stopped from time to time. Finally, they successfully climbed up the Five Fiends mountain range, which made them both heave a sigh of relief. They're finally here. Tian Chan was a little emotional. In many cases, a peak late-stage heaven rank was an unreachable existence, but in some special places and situations, they were incomparably insignificant. For example, this time, if it wasn't for Lin Yi, she wouldn't have been able to climb up the Five Fiends mountain range. In the Five Fiends mountain range, she would either die or wait for others to rescue her. When men and women work together, it's not tiring. Lin Yi laughed. You're so annoying. I'll kick you to death. I'm a peak late-stage heaven rank master. Now that we're up, do you believe that I won't kick you down again? Tian Chan said angrily. Do you believe that I won't hug you and roll down again? Anyway, the yellow silk between us is still there. It hasn't been untied yet. Lin said, Tian Chan reached out and started to untie the yellow silk. Lin Yi also cooperated and helped her untie the yellow silk. After getting rid of the yellow silk, Tian Chan unconsciously wanted to stretch and relax her body. After all, she was carrying a heavy weight on her back, which made her feel a little tired. Lin Yi just turned around and came in front of Tian Chan. He saw Tian Chan stretching. As a result, Tian Chan's beautiful figure was revealed. Without the yellow silk binding her chest, she stretched and jumped out of her clothes, which made Lin Yi stunned. What are you looking at? Tian Chan stretched and saw Lin Yi's drooling eyes. She was slightly stunned. No, nothing. Lin Yi was shocked and quickly retracted his gaze. Even Lin Yi himself didn't understand why he would be like this to Tian Chan. Usually, it wasn't that he hadn't seen beautiful women. There were two at home, one next door, and one at the same desk at school. Lin Yi always felt that his immunity and willpower were very strong, but in front of Tian Chan, these seemed to be non-existent. Lin Yi didn't know why Tian Chan had an indescribable attraction to him. Tian Chan suddenly found where Lin Yi's gaze was. She found that her chest was empty, and she didn't have time to rebind the yellow silk. It's not peeping, right? I'm standing here. It's your own carelessness, Lin Yi said with a bitter smile. Besides, I've touched it and seen it. It's not a big deal. I don't want to hear it. Tian Chan made a gesture to kick Lin Yi. You quickly forget it. Don't mention it to anyone. Oh, I forgot. Lin Yi smiled. You are smiling so badly. It's obvious that you haven't forgotten. Tian Chan snorted and said. I really forgot, said Lin Yi seriously. Well, you've eaten your fill. You don't want to admit it? Tian Chan glared at Lin Yi and said angrily. Lin Yi really had a headache. There was an old saying that women and villains were difficult to deal with. Now Lin Yi didn't know how to answer it. You see, you haven't forgotten, right? Tian Chan looked at Lin Yi proudly. Are you testing me? Lin Yi was speechless. Nothing is too deceitful in war. Tian Chan laughed hysterically. When you laugh, I see it again, said Lin Yi. Tian Chan stopped laughing. She turned around and picked up the yellow silk. You're not allowed to look at it. Lin Yi smiled. What are you laughing at? Asked Tian-chan. Can I laugh? Asked Lin. Of course not. Wait until I'm done before you laugh, said Tungtin. Hee. Lin Yi smiled again. Ooh, you're still laughing? Believe it or not, I'll kick you now. I'd rather you see me. Tian-chan turned around angrily and was about to kick Lin Yi. Okay, stop fooling around. You quickly put on the yellow silk. I won't look at it, said Lin. Tian-chan turned around with some depression. She put on the yellow silk and calmed down. She also felt that she went a bit too far with Lin Yi. She wasn't like this in the past. She didn't know what happened today. I'm going to the teleportation array to go back. What about you? Let's go together? Tian-chan hesitated for a moment and said to Lin. Both of them came up. It was reasonable to say that they should separate. She didn't know why, but Tian-chan suddenly felt reluctant. Chapter 28-25. You still want to stay here? Tian-chan pursed her lips and didn't say anything more. She just said, then let's part ways here. Fearful. Okay, hee. Which sect are you from? Can you tell me? Lin Yi raised his head and looked at Tian-chan. Seeing her hesitation, he added, hee, don't misunderstand. Rogue cultivators like you and I will eventually need to find a sect to rely on. If I have nothing to do after I get out, I might also rely on your sect. But are you really planning to rely on an ancient sect? Tian-chan was slightly stunned and then asked with some joy. Of course, if I can't survive, I will definitely find an ancient sect to rely on. Lin said, Heavens! Tian-chan didn't know why she almost blurted out the 3 words Heavenly Elixir Sect. But after saying the word, she immediately regretted it. So, she quickly said, Tian-chan is only temporarily staying in this sect. I may leave, so if you want to rely on an ancient sect, you can first spread the news in the ancient level. If I receive it, I will contact you. Hee, that's good. Lin Yi nodded. Since Tian-chan was unwilling to say, then Lin Yi didn't ask anymore. Then I will leave. See you again if fate allows it. Wait. Tian-chan suddenly called out to Lin. Lin Yi was stunned and turned to look at Tian-chan. This is for you, Tian-chan said, but she took a sachet from her waist and handed it to Lin. What is this? A token of love? Lin Yi was stunned. Are you looking for a kick? Tian-chan's face suddenly turned red, and she stared at Lin Yi with her big eyes. I was just joking. Lin Yi shrugged. This sachet can disguise your aura as a spirit beast. You can wear it to protect yourself. Tian-chan said, it can avoid being attacked by spirit beasts. Lin Yi paused, thinking that this was some good stuff. But then he thought about it, a little confused. Then the dragon of 5 malefic from before. The 5 evils dragon is a high-level spirit beast. This sachet can only deceive spirit beasts below the heaven rank. It won't have any effect on those above the heaven rank. However, this can only disguise your aura. If you are too close to the spirit beast or provoke it, it will see through you. Tian-chan explained. Then, what are you going to do? Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect Tian-chan to give him such a thing. I will walk along the 5 Evils mountain range. The 5 Evils mountain range is the territory of the 5 Evils dragon. There are no other spirit beasts. As long as I don't provoke the 5 Evils dragon, I won't be in any danger. Tian-chan said, besides, I am lending it to you. The next time you see me, you have to return it to me. All right, then I won't be polite. Lin Yi listened to Tian-chan and no longer pretended to be polite. He nodded and accepted the sachet. Tian-chan waved her hand at Lin. Then I will leave. See you later, see you later. Lin Yi cupped his fists and strode down the 5 Evils mountain range. Although there was a strong feeling of reluctance in his heart, he didn't look back. He and Tian-chan were destined to be people of 2 different worlds. If Tian-chan was related to the 5 Elements sect, she would definitely be Ancestor Xuanzhen's people. As for himself, he was Boss Bai's people. No matter how good their relationship was, it was inevitable that they would stand on the opposite side in the future. At that time, it would be very difficult for both of them. Therefore, it was better to take advantage of their shallow friendship and not cross paths. Skyball Pig, do you think Tian-chan is a good person or a bad person? After going down the mountain, Lin Yi asked Skybolt Pig. A good person. Skybolt Pig found a soft place and wrote these 3 words. Hee hee, you seem to be very close to her? Lin Yi asked. Do you think she is pretty? You pervert. No, the aura on her body is similar to yours. Skybolt Pig shook his head and wrote. Similar to mine? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, but he immediately understood. Tianchan was also a cultivator of the 5 elements, and so was he. Then, it was understandable that Skybolt Pig said that their auras were similar. GG. Skybolt Pig nodded. Perhaps, it was really because he was very similar to Tianchan that he had an indescribable good impression of her? Lin Yi thought about it. Perhaps, this was the only explanation. After Lin Yi went down the mountain, he followed the direction on the map and rushed towards the safe place. At first, he didn't encounter any spirit beasts, but as he went further, some spirit beasts gradually appeared in the wilderness. It was the same situation as what Lin Yi encountered before. It seemed that the 5 Fiends Mountain was indeed a forbidden place for these spirit beasts. Only when he went further did he encounter some spirit beasts again. However, the sachet that Tianchan gave to Lin Yi was very useful. As Lin Yi walked on the road, those spirit beasts saw Lin Yi from afar, but they didn't have the intention to attack him. Although they saw some low-level spirit beasts, they were only yellow-level spirit beasts, which Skybolt Pig's strength could completely suppress, but these spirit beasts didn't have the intention to approach him. Skybolt Pig, do you think I look like a spirit beast now? Lin Yi asked curiously. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig nodded, then shook his head. All right. Lin Yi was just asking casually. Actually, Lin Yi didn't really want to understand the theory behind it. There were many treasures in the world of cultivation that didn't have any theory behind it. After a day and night of trekking, Lin Yi finally arrived at the safe place. Although Lin Yi's speed was already very fast, the 5 Fiends Wildlands was just too big. No wonder the trial gave everyone 15 to 20 days of buffer time. As he neared the safe place, Lin Yi frowned. This was because Lin Yi sensed that there was more than one heaven-ranked master in this safe place. There were 3 of them, or rather, 4 of them. Because Li Siba was a physical practitioner, Lin Yi's golden finger couldn't sense his strength. However, Lin Yi could sense the heaven-ranked masters. There were 3 heaven-ranked spiritual masters in this safe place. Could it be that there were other heaven-ranked masters hiding here besides Feng Shipian and Li Siba? Lin Yi's footsteps were a little hesitant. Whether they were friend or foe, Lin Yi wasn't sure. If Feng Shipian and Li Siba were really in there, then it would be fine. But if it wasn't them, but another group of heaven-ranked masters, then Lin Yi wouldn't be a match for them. Chapter 28-26. Who are you? This is Zhang Naipeo's turf, and we're gunslinger's men. It's fine to rest here, but you have to hand over the elixir. Of course, if you don't have the elixir, then scram. What Lin didn't expect was that just as he was hesitating, a voice came from the safe zone. But that was to be expected. After all, other than the safe zone, the other places were all empty plains. There was nowhere for Lin Yi to hide, and the people in the safe zone only needed to look outside to see where Lin Yi was. Zhang Naipeo? Lin Yi paused, not expecting Naipeo to take over this place. But, since the people in the safe zone had found him, there was no need for him to hide anymore. Lin Yi started walking towards the safe zone. Boss, you're here. Chikuan, on the other hand, was very excited. He jumped up from the ground and jumped out of the entrance. Behind him was Feng Shipian, Li Siba, and Guxian. Bro Lin, you're here. Feng Shipian, Li Siba, and Guxian, on the other hand, were only acknowledging Lin Yi as their captain. They hadn't thought about making him their boss yet. Guxian, on the other hand, was still a step away, but Feng Shipian and Li Siba were the pride of their sects and houses. The 2 of them were quite amicable, but acknowledging a boss was a very important thing. They had to think it through, especially when it came to a freelancer like Lin Yi. Chikuan, Shipian, Siba, Guxian, you're all here. Lin Yi relaxed upon seeing them. It seemed like Naipeo didn't do anything to them. Lin Yi was worried that they'd be fighting Naipeo alone, but Lin Yi didn't see young Chi-Chi behind them. He frowned. Where's Chi-Chi? It's a long story, but Chi-Chi said she came here to look for treasure. Chikuan said as he told Lin Yi about how Chi-Chi was chased away by Nai Peo and how she went on a treasure hunt on her own. Lin Yi's breathing tightened when he heard that Chi-Chi went to Five Fiends Mountains. Five Fiends Mountains was a dangerous place, and Lin Yi knew very well how dangerous it was. Chi-Chi going there alone made him worried for her. How many days has it been? 2 days, Chikuan said. 2 days. Lin Yi sighed. Chi-Chi should have reached Five Fiends Mountains by now. Chi-Chi practiced Qigong, and her speed was very fast. Lin Yi had been gone for a day and a night, so Chi-Chi must have been there long ago. Plus, Lin Yi had been walking in a straight line, and Chi-Chi should have been walking in a straight line according to the map as well. The two should have met, and if they didn't, it meant that Chi-Chi used less than a day and a night to get to Five Fiends Mountains, so Lin Yi didn't see her. After all, the path Lin Yi took down wasn't the same as before. He'd been thrown out by the Five Fiends dragon for some distance, and this was where he'd brushed past Chi-Chi. Yeah. Chikuan nodded. That Five Fiends Mountains is marked as extremely dangerous on the map. I wonder how she's doing now. But we really couldn't fight Nai Peo back then, sorry boss. It's fine, you guys weren't Nai Peo's match anymore. It's normal that you didn't do anything. Lin Yi waved his hand, furious at Nai Peo's actions. This was a shared area, and he'd taken it over and started robbing them. What was he thinking? You guys gave all your elixirs to Nai Peo? We had no choice. Shipian smiled bitterly and told Lin Yi everything that happened after Lin Yi left. They were talking about how Nai Peo threw a punch at Dongfang Butang, making him run out of the safe area like a madman, only to be killed by the spirit beast. Nai Peo's voice came from behind them. All right, Lin Yi, you've caught up with your follower. Are you going into the safe area or not? I thought you wanted to be a coward and not show your face. Nai Peo walked out of the safe area and said mockingly to Lin, Zhang Nai Peo, I heard that your technique is similar to Heaven and Earth Grand Shift? But it's not the same. If I'm not wrong, your technique can't reflect the opponent's attacks back at you like Heaven and Earth Grand Shift. Part of it is reflected, and the other part is taken by you, right? Lin Yi had heard Shipian talk about young Master Yang before, and combined it with what he saw in the restaurant. Lin Yi had a general idea of the characteristics of Nai Peo's technique. Haha, that's right, but Lin Yi, so what if you've guessed it? Nai Peo paused after seeing that Lin Yi had guessed the characteristics of his technique, but he didn't care at all. He started laughing loudly. Why don't you keep guessing? I can keep guessing, but the only thing I'm not sure about is that when young Master Yang and the Yellow Earth Tyrant hit you, a part of their strength must have been transferred to you, and the part that was reflected back was the other part. But now, it seems like that's not the case, because the other part of the strength wasn't enough to kill them. Lin Yi analyzed. Lin Yi, I have to admit that you're smarter than those reckless practitioners, but what's the use? Come bite me. Nai Peo looked at him provocatively. I'm not afraid to tell you that this technique of mine is called Thorn Arts. When you hit me, 20% of the damage will be absorbed by my body, and 80% will be reflected back by my practitioner's arts. But, under the buff of my practitioner's arts, it's not 80%, but 3 times that. That's 240%. That's a total of 240%. That's why these idiots killed themselves after hitting me. Chapter 28-27. At this moment in the trial ground, there were very few recover pills. It was impossible for these trial takers to have this kind of elixir with them, unless they were the direct disciples of alchemy sects like the Heavenly Elixir sect. It was impossible for other sects to have it. Nai Peo had revealed his trump card to Lin Yi, telling him that there was nothing he could do to him. He could only watch as Nai Peo bullied him and his follower, and let him die of frustration. Of course, killing Lin Yi was something Nai Peo didn't think about. He wanted to keep Lin Yi as a source of motivation for his training, and he wanted Pinliang to be able to kill Lin Yi himself one day. Nai Peo only wanted to vent his frustrations in this test, and that was why he wanted to turn Lin Yi's lackeys against him. I see. Lin Yi understood. I've guessed that you might have imbued some of your own chi into the rebound, but I didn't expect it to be this powerful. Lin Yi, just give up. I'm not afraid to tell you that with your current strength, this 20% damage won't do much to me. Plus, I have a small recovery pill with me. You'll die before I die. Nai Peo said. But if you hand over the pill, I'll consider letting you go. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Oh? Is that so? Lin Yi smiled all of a sudden as he looked at Nai Peo, his confidence returning. Thanks for telling me so much, answering my questions. Now, I'm going to attack. Are you ready? You know, and you're still going to hit me? Nai Peo paused as he looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He couldn't understand why Lin Yi would attack him when he knew that he'd be rebounded. Why would he still attack him? How would I know if I don't try? Lin Yi said. You don't believe me? Nai Peo was a little puzzled. Lin Yi didn't seem like the type of arrogant person who didn't understand what was going on. There'd been so many precedents, so why was Lin Yi still so nonchalant? It's not that I don't believe it, but sometimes, a miracle might happen. Lin Yi smiled and said, I'm going to make my move. Are you sure you want to stand here and let me hit you? Since you don't believe me, I can only let you try. However, let me give you a friendly reminder. You'd better not use your strongest move. Otherwise, you will die very quickly. Nai Peo said. It's fine if you die, but Liang Bro will be disappointed. He's planning on killing you himself. Zhongping Liang? Lin Yi chuckled. He has no chance. Do whatever you want. Nai Peo stood there, not moving an inch as he looked at Lin Yi, waiting for him to make his move. Raging Fire 8 trigrams palm, 7th style. Lin Yi started channeling the Fiery Fist's incantation before striking out with a palm towards Nai Peo's chest. Nai Peo didn't dodge at all, he just used his chest to block Lin Yi's palm, standing there, waiting for Lin Yi to fly away. Bang! Lin Yi's fiery 8 trigrams palm landed on Nai Peo's chest. Boom! At the same time that Lin Yi's palm landed on Nai Peo's chest, Lin Yi felt a huge force bounce back from his palm, but that force disappeared without a trace the moment it touched Lin Yi's body, as if it had never been there in the first place. It was working. Lin Yi sighed in relief. It seemed like his prediction was correct. Just as Nai Peo said, the force he bounced back was 240% of his strength, without any of Nai Peo's chi in it. This chi belonged to the Earth class. This meant that he was wearing the mid-level cicada underwear, and the force was completely nullified by it. It seemed like Shu's words had come true once again. Prophet Shu really had foresight. Before he left, he put this mid-tier golden cicada underwear on him. He didn't expect it to have such a decisive effect. Knowing that the reflected force had no effect on him, Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. A cold smile appeared on his face as he activated the Fiery 8 trigrams palm's 7th form. Fiery 8 trigrams palm's 7th form, 7th form. Lin Yi used the Fiery 8 trigrams palm's 7th form twice, a total of 3 times. Lin Yi's Fiery 8 trigrams palm was barely enough to take out a Sky-class early phase. Lin Yi had used this move to take out the Red Conch early phase Sky-class Master Zhuge, so Lin Yi didn't use the 8th form at all. The 8th form could only be used once, and Lin Yi would be exhausted after that. The 7th form, on the other hand, could be used 3 times in a row. This way, the attack on Nai Peo would be 60% of the normal Fiery 8 trigrams palm's 7th form. Nai Peo would definitely be heavily injured. As expected, Nai Peo's eyes flashed with disbelief as he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, holding his chest with both hands, unable to speak. He didn't think that Lin Yi would use 3 techniques in a row, and from the looks of it, Lin Yi didn't seem to be affected at all. He himself was the one who was heavily injured. It wasn't fatal, but it was quite serious. This was Lin Yi's limit. Lin Yi sighed with regret, but he couldn't use any more techniques, not even the 6th form. Feng Shipian, Li Siba, you two worked together to kill Nai Peo. A killing intent flashed in Lin Yi's eyes. Nai Peo was simply too strong, so strong that Lin Yi was wary of him. Back in the Ice Palace, the rules didn't allow him to kill, so he spared Nai Peo's life. But in the Sky Elixir sex test, there were no rules like that. And so, Lin Yi decided to get rid of Nai Peo, in case he went back and learned some weird arts. Lin Yi wouldn't be able to deal with him then. Feng Shipian and Li Siba paused. They were just about to cheer for Lin Yi, since Lin didn't look like he was injured at all, yet he'd already beaten Nai Peo up. As far as they were concerned, Lin Yi's next step was to kill Nai Peo. Chapter 28. Brother Lin, you're... Feng Shipian looked at Lin Yi, confused. Lin Yi was just about to explain that he was exhausted and couldn't use any more skills, but when he looked up, he saw Mo Ba rushing over from the entrance. Lin Yi swallowed his words. Mo Ba's strength was not to be underestimated either. He was stronger than either Feng Shipian or Li Siba, and even if the two teamed up, they wouldn't have much of a chance of winning. Lin Yi was also afraid that Mo Ba would attack him, so Lin didn't say anything else. Gunslinger, what's wrong? Mo Ba didn't have the time to think about Lin Yi's situation. All of his attention was on Nai Peo, and seeing how heavily injured he was, he panicked. In actuality, it looked like Lin Yi had used his skills 3 times during the fight between Lin Yi and Nai Peo, but it was all done in the blink of an eye. Nai Peo was on the ground in the blink of an eye, and Mo Ba didn't even have time to react before the fight was over. Small recovery pill. Nai Peo said to Mo Ba. Yes, gunslinger. Mo Ba quickly took out a pill and put it into Nai Peo's mouth. Nai Peo, on the other hand, closed his eyes and sat cross-legged on the ground, starting to digest the medicine. Lin Yi couldn't help but feel a sense of shame. With Mo Ba out, Feng Shipian and Li Siba wouldn't be able to kill Nai Peo anymore, unless they put their lives on the line and let Guxian and Qikuan attack Nai Peo. But if they did that, they might have to sacrifice Feng Shipian or Li Siba. For a disciple like the Everyday and Everyday sect, they would put their lives on the line. Once Mo Ba put his life on the line, his explosive power would be very strong. Plus, Lin Yi didn't have the chance to tell Zhao Qikuan and the others what he was thinking. He didn't have the energy to play the sound trick anymore, and it wouldn't be able to fool a sky-class mid-phase like Mo Ba. While Nai Peo was healing himself, Lin Yi wasn't idling around either, using the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery to recover the chi he'd used earlier. At that moment, Feng Shipian and Li Siba saw that Lin Yi wasn't moving at all, his face a little pale as well. It was only then that they realized that Lin Yi had probably used up all his chi after using 3 techniques. That was why they had to go kill Nai Peo. They couldn't help but regret it. The opportunity was fleeting. Now that Devil 8 was here, it was impossible for them to make a move. Right now, Mo Ba was guarding Nai Peo vigilantly, and Feng Shipian and Li Siba didn't have any experience in teamwork. It was practically impossible for them to stop Mo Ba before attacking Nai Peo. And so, Feng Shipian and Li Siba followed Devil 8's example and stood in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi was recovering his chi, and they were guarding Lin. And so, a strange scene unfolded in front of the safe place. Both groups were guarding, but they didn't make a move. They just stared at each other, not saying a word. Skybolt Pig was hiding far away, watching for any spirit beasts nearby. Fortunately, in the half an hour that Lin Yi was recovering his chi, and Nai Peo was healing himself, everything was fine. You're wearing the mid-class golden cicada underwear. Nai Peo sighed as he spoke to Lin. In the half an hour that he was healing himself, Nai Peo kept thinking about why Lin Yi was fine. It shouldn't be possible after all. How could Lin Yi take 240% of the reflected damage? It wasn't very realistic. But after thinking about it for a long time, Nai Peo finally came up with a possibility. Pinliang's mid-class golden cicada underwear had been worn by Lin Yi. Nai Peo didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the thought. Lin Yi was an Earth class, and the chi that was reflected back was naturally Earth class. It was strong, but it was still an Earth class. The mid-class golden cicada underwear would be able to defend against it no matter what, and this underwear had been gifted to Lin Yi by Pinliang. Nai Peo's loss this time was quite unfair. Looks like you're not stupid after all. Lin Yi stopped using the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery after seeing that Nai Peo had recovered. His chi wasn't fully recovered yet, but it was more or less recovered. I've forgotten about that. Nai Peo said as he looked at Lin. He'd just recovered from his injuries, and wasn't fully healed yet. If Lin Yi had recovered and used the same 3 moves again, he'd really be dead. You hate Pinliang a lot, don't you? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Lin Yi, don't get too cocky. I can kill you with a flip of my hand. Nai Peo smiled coldly. Is that so? Fire 8 trigrams palm 8th form. Lin Yi used the fire 8 trigrams palm once again, striking towards Nai Peo. But this time, Lin used the 8th form, not the 7th form. In actuality, the reason why Lin Yi used the 8th form was because his real target this time was Demon 8. Attacking Nai Peo was just an illusion. If Demon 8 wasn't killed, he'd always be a hidden threat. Even if Lin Yi injured Nai Peo with Demon 8 there, he wouldn't be able to let Feng Shipian and Li Siba kill him. It'd be an endless loop between him and Nai Peo. He'd hurt him, he'd heal himself, and Lin Yi'd recover his chi and stamina. This cycle wouldn't end until the end of the test. Only by killing Demon 8 and injuring Nai Peo would he be able to create a chance for Feng Shipian and the others to kill Nai Peo together. As for the 2 followers of the Dark Palace, they'd long since gone into hiding. They were negligible. They'd seen that Lin Yi could hurt Nai Peo, and knew that Lin Yi wasn't someone to be messed with. So, they decided to hide. Lin didn't mind people like this at all. As long as he got rid of Nai Peo and Demon 8, they'd follow him obediently. Nai Peo's eyes were wide open, his face tense as if he was facing a powerful enemy. In the test before, he'd been able to laugh and talk freely even when facing a Sky-class late-phase peak, but now he was under a lot of pressure. Chapter 28-29. Although this move wouldn't have any effect on those Sky-class masters who were prepared and had strong willpower, Lin Yi didn't think that these 2 conditions were met. When Zhao Qikuan and Feng Shipian were explaining this move to Lin Yi, they were interrupted by Nai Peo, and so Nai Peo believed that Lin Yi didn't know much about his Demon of Hell Fist, and even if Lin Yi had a strong will, he was only in Earth class, he wouldn't be able to wake up from the illusion of the Demon of Hell Fist by himself. At that thought, Nai Peo didn't use the Thorn Arts, but the Demon of Hell Fist's arts. He punched out as Lin Yi got closer, yelling, "Demon of Hell Fist!" Boom! At the same time, Lin Yi's fire bagua palm landed on Demon 8, who was standing not far from Nai Peo, completely defenseless. Demon 8 looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He didn't think that Lin Yi, who was supposed to be attacking Nai Peo, would suddenly change his target to Demon 8. But when he realized this, it was already too late. He could only watch as Lin Yi's palm landed on his chest, and his sternum caved in. A sharp pain spread from his chest to his entire body, and he moaned in pain as he was sent flying by Lin Yi's strength. He didn't want to die, but there was nothing he could do. He wanted to yell at Lin Yi for being so cunning, but then he remembered that when he first met Lin Yi in the inn's restaurant, didn't Imo Jio become a cripple like this? However, by the time Imo Ba realized this, it was already too late. He felt the arrival of death, and he already knew that this time, he would definitely die. But what made him excited was that before he died, he saw Nai Peo use his ultimate move on Lin, Demon of Hell Fist. Although he was dead, he was happy that Gunslinger had avenged him. Demon 8 landed heavily on the ground, closed his eyes, and passed away peacefully. A stream of chi shot out from Nai Peo's fist, heading straight for Lin Yi's head. Lin Yi was shocked, and suddenly remembered what Feng Shipian had told him about Nai Peo's ultimate move, Demon of Hell Fist. Dongfang Bulu was a Sky-class late-phase peak, and even he was hit by it. Lin Yi was only an Earth-class late-phase. Naturally, he wouldn't be able to handle this move. But, when Lin Yi reacted, it was already too late. Lin Yi was using the Fire Bagua Palm's 8th form to attack Demon 8, and the chi from Nai Peo's fist entered Lin Yi at the same time. Suddenly, Lin Yi felt his head go dizzy, and found himself in a strange world. The scenery around Lin Yi changed abruptly, turning into a familiar scene. This was the X-Island where he'd been with his Shifu when he was young. Bro, Daddy's dead. As Lin Yi was spacing out, not knowing why he had suddenly returned to Island X, where he trained when he was a kid, a familiar, crying voice sounded. Lin Yi raised his head to see that it was his teammate, Yang Xiaoxiao, the daughter of his Shifu. What? Shifu's dead? Lin Yi was startled as he looked at Yang Xiaoxiao, surprised. He'd gotten into the role without realizing it, as if he'd gone back to his childhood training on X Island. Yes, Daddy's dead. Little 9 killed Daddy. Yang Xiaoxiao said. What? Little 7, you said Shifu was killed by Little 9? Lin Yi's eyes were wide open as he looked at Yang Xiaoxiao in disbelief. Little 7 was Yang Xiaoxiao's code name in the team. Yes, Yes, but I've already killed little Nine to avenge Daddy. Yang Xiaoxiao said sadly, I really didn't think that little Nine was this kind of person. What? Little Nine is also dead? Lin Yi suddenly felt that the amount of information in this matter was too much for him to accept. He had a splitting headache. This was because the series of events had already exceeded the scope of what he could bear. Bro, don't believe Sister Seven. Shifu was killed by her. I saw it. Sister Seven wanted to kill me. Lin Yi couldn't accept it. Suddenly he heard little Nine's voice. When he turned his head, he saw little Nine crawling over with blood all over her body. Her head was actually broken. Only a little bit of skin on her neck was connected. As she crawled, it swayed and looked like it was about to fall off. Even though Lin Yi had a strong psychological endurance, he couldn't help but scream. Her head was broken, but she could still speak? Bro, be careful. Little Nine suddenly said. Lin Yi suddenly felt a sharp pain in his abdomen. When he turned his head, he saw that Yang Xiaoxiao was holding a dagger in her hand, piercing his lower abdomen. Yang Xiaoxiao's mouth had a cruel and proud smile. Little Seven. Lin Yi looked at Little Seven in horror. Haha, I am not Little Seven actually. I am Yuning. Yang Xiaoxiao's face suddenly changed and turned into Yuning, a face that Lin Yi was more familiar with. Little Ning Yu. Lin Yi couldn't believe it. How could Yuning kill her own master, kill Little Nine? Why did she pretend to be Little Seven? Just when Lin Yi wanted to ask, Lin Yi suddenly found that the scenery around him had changed again. It turned into a primeval forest in Africa. And Yuning, at the moment, was looking at him affectionately. Lin Yi looked at Yuning again and found that there was no dagger in Yuning's hand, and his lower abdomen was no longer in pain. Lin Yi was puzzled. Yuning suddenly said, Eagle, today is Valentine's Day, and Lin Yi responded he hadn't recovered from the previous shock. I like you, Yuning said. But I know that you can't be with me, so what I can't get, no one else can. I want to die with you, so we can be together forever. Lin Yi was stunned. This was not Yuning's style at all. Lin Yi was wondering if Yuning was insane today. Suddenly, a lion came into the cave, and Yuning was summoning the lion. The lion came over and bit Yuning at the waist. Her upper body went directly into the belly of the lion, leaving only half of her body. She made a strange laugh. Ha,